Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast brought to you by the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Leviathan Meat Grinder.
And today with myself and Leviathan Meat Grinder, we have Brian Shutter of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. How you doing, Brian?
Good. How's it going, fellas?
It is going. We were tired boys this morning, but I think about 10 minutes of coffee and we're getting there.
Yeah.
So Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland.
Yes.
Where did this come from?
So it's actually like funny because we almost talked about it, but it was what everyone gets called 5e fatigue. We made it like I'm a forever DM. I've never played characters. Well, I mean that's a lie, but like never like real deal Holyfield like player, right? Like one shots and stuff. But so then I was like, made it to 10th level, and I was just like, I am over this game. Like I need something because I'm not a huge fan of the magic system. Is like, I mean, you look through mine, it's like, so I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a Masters of the Universe RPG, right? So it's like, okay, cool, everyone's a giant barbarian with a sword. It's like, well, that's not gonna work because like not everyone's going to want to play it, so you're like excluding people, right? And a dynamic of a party is vital to like actually survivability in a game, right? So It's like, all right, well, damn it, so we need a wizard, right? So then the war wizard was made out of it, and it's like, okay, well, now you need a healer. So then the holy smiter came. So then it's like you got your core BX, you got your night stalker, your rogue class, cosmic barbarians, and then it just kind of evolved into the classes. And then it's like, all right, I love post-apocalyptic Italian movies from like the 80s. So it's like my biggest thing. So it's like, it's got to be in the like post-apoc. It has to be. So then it's like, okay. So it kind of just like I took like, like my love for RoboCop, put it in, my love for Judge Dredd, put it in, like Warhammer, put it in, like everything that I love just like into like one game. And then I vomited out into like all those pages.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely a game that is chock full. We were talking about this before. We're always like, we were talking about this before, but it's a ton of pop culture references, and they're very funny, and they're fairly seamless. Like if you don't know, I think there's a lot you could bypass, and then there's some just like, shout out Lord Randy,
Yeah, totally. It's like, you don't need to know the references, because that was a big thing. Like people are like, well, kids aren't going to want to play it. Well, like teenagers aren't going to want to play it because they don't get the references. But I've had a lot of kids play, and a lot of kids like interested in it. So like, I don't think that is the case. I think it's like
cool. It's a fun, like chaotic vibe. Like, of course they're going to want to play it. They don't care. I mean, who cares if you get every reference,
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Lord Randy is Randy the Macho Man, and Randy Savage completely blew right past me. I was gonna ask. That was gonna be one of my first questions. Like, who the heck is Lord Randy? And then you were like, oh, it's Randy Savage, right? And I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
So like, so basically, in the future, they have these like Chrono Sage guys that like smoke the holy smoke and can like kind of like like look into like the past kind of and interpret what they see, right? So they see the like the WWF pantheon, and they think they're called flesh gods. They call like us flesh gods, and then they see like Randy as like he is he sits on the cosmic throne of humanity. He is the savage one, like the Zeus of the world.
That's awesome.
And then he was like,
that's so fucking ridiculous. That's amazing. But obviously, like that's how my own personal pantheon lines up as well. Sitting on the cosmic throne is the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Exactly.
I will say, and Lord Randy be praised, right? But the golden four-headed goddess, that's the one that got me. I was like, that's what I would worship.
Yeah, the golden goddess of chaos or whatever, like the golden girls. Like a Hydra.
With the golden girls, literally the four-headed golden girls as a god. That one got me. I was like, that's it. That's what I would worship. That's what I'm a cleric to, is the golden girls. Yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah.
So what made you go with BX then? Like, if you had like 5e fatigue with D&D, but like if you when you started building it, did you always want to go BX with something that you made, or?
So I don't know. That's a good question. So like BX kind of came out of just the simplicity of it. It's like I want to say like under 30 pages. I have to grab my BX copy. It's like it's slim and it's like down and precise and it's like exactly what like you could definitely make a game out of easily. It's like the perfect foundations. But I did, like I'm pretty sure BX would probably be like THACO at that point too. So I still did modern roll over 20 to hit and then roll under your stat for skill.
You don't love the adorably confusing and esoteric THACO,
No, not at all. I don't think even as cool as the game was, I think if we did THACO, it would turn people off so much. Like
it would absolutely. Yeah. I have had to
100%.
explain THACO to new players, and they're like, "Why would I do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean,
yes."
Like, yeah.
Couldn't tell
like
you.
Rhodesian. That's what we always say when we don't know anything from Hot Rod. It's like the stepdad's like Rhodesian.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that in so long.
Oh my god.
Fantastic
It's a great movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like that's an underappreciated cult classic comedy.
I think so. It's like it's strangely good. And it came out in a weird time and it was PG-13, but it's like fantastic.
It's unbelievably good. I mean, Andy Samberg is very funny. So
yeah, I'm a big Lonely Island fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So right now, Neon Lords is on the Kickstarter right now. Can you guys tell us how how that's been going, where you guys are at?
Yeah, so basically, so the next book, so I did the core rules and we kickstarted that and it funded, shipped them out. And it was like we were gonna do deities and demibros next, like a nice book about all the gods, like add more like flavor to them, bring the whole WWF pantheon to the table. And then I was talking to Mustafa, the guy that did like most of the art, and he's like officially my partner. He does the art and I do the writing. And I was like, we were like, well, what's the point of doing another book if like nobody has copies? Like it was a small Kickstarter and we ran 500 copies and I sold a few here and there. Then we ran out of books. So it's like, might as well do a second printing so we can, get it out to the people because people wanted the book. It sells out everywhere. Like Exalted Funeral sold out.
Yeah, I saw that.
In like maybe less than a month. And like people want it. So it's like, well, second printing and then we'll just bust it out. Total Carnage edition, make it insane. Do all the crazy stuff that we always do. It's going to have a dust jacket cover, make it look fancy because every like good fancy book's got a dust jacket. So we had to have a dust jacket. There's going to be, and there's a hidden class in the original book. And then, so we're going to do a hidden adventure in this book as well as the hidden class. Keep the hidden class in there. Gutting out all the old adventures, putting in a supplement adventure called Space Bulk, where you traverse to the orbit and explore space freighters that get stuck in chaos storms and get melded into other spaceships and planets and stuff. And then there's like strange chaos cultists and like orc cops that patrol it, and you can get some cool Xeno gear and all that good stuff. So like you can do all that, and then on the other side, like the regular book side, just making it more clear on the like a better editing. We kind of rushed the edit on it, which it's our first book,
Yeah, first print,
Yeah, and then just like there's like a page we're gonna do that explains how like a shotgun fires. So it's gonna be like a picture, like in like a shooting range of a guy shooting like mutant standees. It's gonna have the damage patterns for everything, so make it more concise for like a lot of people. Actually, this is their first RPG, and I apologize to them every time they say like oh, I'm sorry, but and then I might even do that with actually now that I'm thinking about it, we talked about the spell section. Do like that for spells too, because that's like the old school way they used to show areas of effect. I mean, even 5e
cube and circle and from yourself out. I always think visual tools like that are really helpful, especially if it is someone's first time like playing and they're trying to conceptualize what this looks like. So that sounds like it'd be a good addition.
Yeah, thanks for giving it to me. I'll give you credit for it. Because thinking about the spells and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So you've kind of mentioned, or you did mention before we hopped on that something was a Warhammer thing, and then magic is chaos. And I was wondering, are you like a Warhammer fan? Did you play a bunch of Warhammer? And
So like Warhammer. So I play I dabble. I dabble
Right.
in Warhammer. I got like a Death Guard army and some Space Wolves and stuff. Like Necromunda is like the big thing I love. Like the Hive gang wars.
yeah,
Like that's awesome. Well, it's realistically anything 80s, 90s Games Workshop I'm obsessed with. So the biggest thing is this deep cut that I'm obsessed with. It's this solo board game called Chainsaw Warrior that runs my life. I can't beat it. I still can't beat it. I play it. I try to play it on Thanksgiving every year, but I spoiled myself this year and I played it twice on my birthday and died within the first 10 minutes. And I almost made it to the end, the second game on my birthday. And I was like, finally, after 20 plus years of playing this game, I'm going to beat it. And then a Kung Fu cultist kicked my ass in the second tower and I died.
that's very cool. I can definitely see I mean, not just the reference to chaos and like magic in space, because like it's really big in Warhammer, obviously, but this game doesn't necessarily have the same like mud, blood, and shit like feel of like Warhammer, but it's like over the top, like muscular, violent, beat 'em up. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, a lot of like Sega Genesis video game influences too. Yeah, beat 'em up, shoot 'em ups, like all that stuff is my jam for sure.
One thing I wanted to know from the very first time I saw a picture of it was, where did the Brudicorn come from?
So the Brudicorn came from this show called Brave Star. It's this old 80s cartoon of these like Texas Ranger like Western dudes in space. And the main guy, his sidekick is called 3030. He is a like mechanical horse. And so like I was sitting around like babysitting, well not babysitting, but watching my kids, right? Like just like messing around on YouTube and stuff. And then saw 3030 and I'm like, oh man, that would be dope. So then I sent it to Mustafa, the artist guy. I'm like, hey, draw me this. This would be a dope class. And he's like, why don't you make it a unicorn? And I'm like, man, why don't we make it a freaking two-corn one and call it a Brudicorn? I didn't mean to freak out on the mic. So it's like that, when you're like brainstorming, you're like, well, what if we do this? And then you laugh like, oh, that'd be awesome. Then it's like, you got to one up it and then one up it. And then it ended up being like a two-corned Brudicorn that kind of casts spells and shoots stuff with shotguns.
Well, that's what the entire game kind of feels like. It feels like you had this idea, then never stopped one-upping it, and then this is what Neon Lords came from. It's like, how can we make this more 80s, more 90s, more gonzo, more crazy? This is definitely the kind of game, like, if you get a couple of buddies who are just gonna go ham, like, you could have such a fun time with a couple of beers and just going off as a cosmic barbarian and a Brudicorn, picking your hairstyle and going nuts. And that's exactly how I see this, is like rocking like a thin spaghetti strap tank top like in the middle of summer and just like going crazy with it.
Yeah. Oh man, what are those things called? This got me out. Skank tanks.
Skank
tank?
You never heard that for guys like with the string tank, a skank tank?
I'd never heard it, but I'm gonna use it now.
I'm Googling it right now.
Exactly, that's what I'm doing. Skank tank. Urban Dictionary. No, that's not. But I can't say that on stream.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's some negative connotations with.
Oh
the
yeah, it's like the very gym bro-y, like yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
listen, man,
that's exactly what I picture.
Get a couple beers in with the bros. Get your skank tanks on, man. We're gonna go out here with our swords.
Yeah, it's a very beer and pretzels game. Like it's great for one shots. You could I got a buddy, like a Super Neon Maniac, David. He runs a full campaign, and I jumped in and played a little bit with him. Like it's very campaignable, but like I'm a huge one shot guy. Like
yeah, I do love one shot.
Yeah, it's perfect for a one shot.
Hell yeah,
you wrote in some different modes to be able to play it differently too, which I really enjoyed, and you could picture that really easily. What is it's called action movie mode, or what's the very first one that's kind of very
Saturday morning cartoon mode? I don't know if cartoon's in there. It might just be Saturday morning mode.
Mm-hmm.
Let me off camera look real quick. So I'm pretty sure.
Oh, don't be shy. Show us. Show us the. Oh yeah.
Look. Oh yeah. Saturday morning mode is the one you're referring to. Then you got Nightmare mode.
Yeah, and then the Ultra Nightmare mode.
Ultra Nightmare mode, yeah. So back in the early days of me on Discord, someone did play Ultra Nightmare mode, and he told me all about it. And they said they had a blast, even though they like were eviscerated within like the first like maybe hour and a half, maybe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, I can't imagine playing this game and not dying a bunch of times just because I want to go to the wall every single time.
So actually, it's very brutal and you die a lot, but that's like the fun of it, right? Like, it doesn't take itself seriously, and then your character gets killed, and you're like, awesome. But then, like, you just roll up another one real quick, and it's like in the bioflesher generator right there, it's in a cage right there. But like, I was at PAX, first game I ran at PAX Unplugged last year, full table. I was surprised people actually want to play. Like my list was like filled up, but at the table, everyone's around. They end up getting to a door, like a swoosh door that we call them. And there's a keypad, and there's a skull, whatever they're called, skull jammer. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to hack the door open. It's like, all right, cool. He crit failed and then ended up lasering himself in the brain and died on his first roll. So I'm like, oh, dude, like, I mean, we're at a con, you literally paid to play this. I was like, yeah, we could forget. He's like, nope, it's exactly what I wanted to happen. I'm just going to sit and watch. This was the greatest thing ever. I was like,
there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude,
also, shout out that player for having a good attitude about it,
Right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck. This guy's going to be like... But yeah, he no, actually, like, everybody had a blast, like, every time.
The swoosh doors, all the little things like that through the entire book is what, like, cracked me up and made me, like, really, really like it and kind of dig in more. Is just, why wouldn't it be called a swoosh door? It sounds like a swoosh. You know?
That's like... That came like, yeah, actually in like playtesting and stuff, because it's like, well, how do you explain like that door, right? What would you call it?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
A swoosh door.
Because it makes a swoosh. Why would you call it a swoosh door?
Yeah.
I mean, especially post-apocalyptically, like if people haven't seen a door like that and the first thing they see is swoosh, like, of course that's exactly what they're going to call it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
one question I gotta ask, because I think me and Hunter both, like, our first kind of like, what do you think kind of thing is, why isn't the inside in color? Because I feel like I just want it to vomit on me, and then it's all. Yeah.
I got. There's two reasons why. One, be insanely expensive to make.
That was what I figured. Yeah, that was exactly why.
The two is because to go with the old school aesthetic that the inside were black and white. So I wanted to stick with that, but mainly it's expensive as hell.
Yeah,
we kind of figured it was the expense one. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's also several pages. It's not necessarily a zine.
Right. Yeah. And then like the second printing's like clocking in almost at 300 pages already.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So is it because of space bulk mostly, or is it just expanding everything?
Yeah. So space bulk's the big chunk of what's making it bigger. But like, if you add a page, you have to add another page, or else your layout's going to be wonky. So I just had to like keep adding spreads and like, all right, well, what am I going to put here? So it's like just a couple little extra add-ons, like. There's like a whole, because like the big thing in it is the Bixby's one-stop death shop is like, they're like 7-Elevens and Starbucks. They're like on like, literally you could go in Detroit Prime and see like two opposing 7-Elevens. Oh, that's an adventure right there. Two opposing 7-Elevens like fighting. Boom.
Taking shots at each other.
Yeah. So Bixby's one-stop death shop. So it's got everything the adventure needs to like buy and stuff. So like behind that spread, I added another like, Bixby's like under the counter, like illegal goods, like stuff that like will get you like locked up in the ISO cubes for like 6 months and stuff like that. You get caught with it. Street Enforcers.
Oh yeah, shout out Dread.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was looking at, I was like, they used the ISO cube, and we think of Judge Dredd, and then I saw earlier when I was going through one of the drugs is slow-mo. Which I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Which I was only laughing at because right above it is fucking sea monkeys.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
oh
like
my
that's the
God.
thing. No one has ever brought up the fact that you could snort the
You
sea
snort sea
monkey.
monkeys.
Yeah, like I was like probably 2 a.m. I'm like writing this. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. Like this is the first time anybody's ever brought up sea monkeys.
Oh, it was really funny. I laughed pretty hard at it. So
Thank you, I appreciate it.
yeah.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. Like you're just like reading through and you're like, okay, and then you run across something like that and you're just like, oh, like what the fuck? Like this is great, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like makes sense, right? Like, who the hell doesn't want to snort sea monkeys?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What was that? Hold on, I'm gonna find the description real quick because it was like survived the neon wars of 1992.
Yeah, that's the big cataclysmic event was the neon wars of 1992,
Like,
followed by Vietnam II, the revenge.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Dude, and that's just, and even like as we're here, is this the way that like a lot of the book I read and we're like, oh my God, that'd be such a good idea, and you just like hop on like 2 a.m. and just like bust something out?
Yeah, so like I got like my Google Doc on my phone and it's constant, like just like, oh, I gotta write that down real quick. I got like literally like 100 adventures like just being made because it's so stupid. It's just like the stupidest idea makes like the best adventure.
Well, I mean, like you just said, like 2 opposing 7-Elevens fighting each other in the middle of like a toxic wasteland would be hysterical. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's easy. That's an easy one too.
So right now we're doing Total Carnage Edition. You got 7 days left on this.
Yep.
And then just drop some like new dice bags and stuff like that up on the Kickstarter. After this is done and Total Carnage Edition is out, what's the future with Neon Lords after that? Are you going to jump into like the Demi Bros and whatnot, or?
Yeah, so I think so. The big thing is Deities and Demi Bros is going to be next. And then there's like a vehicle supplement from like, it's going to be from skateboards to spaceships. You're going to have all the rules and all the battle rules for any like cool vehicle from the iconic ones from all the movies and stuff. And then adventures that I always do. And I just, if I think of it, I bust it out and toss it online for free because there's like a Saturday Morning Meltdown book that has the Street Shark class that people keep like keep pining for. Like the Street Shark class is sick. I actually got to play as one. Like my buddy Garrett came up for the AnchorCon we just did up here in New York, and he ran it, and I played as we call them sewer sharks, but like awesome. And like people want that class so bad. Like it's probably one of my favorite things I've ever written.
That's awesome. Actually sounds cool as shit. You said Street Sharks. I was like, oh, dude. I mean, when you started talking, you're like, yeah, like Masters of the Universe game. I was like, oh fuck, that sounds awesome. You know, like,
so supposedly there's one coming out. So thank God I didn't do it.
Yeah, well,
but I don't have the license, you know.
But you know, there's a Cowboy Bebop one coming out as well. But I'm still gonna choose Orbital Blues first. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is still. I mean, that's if you play Saturday morning mode, it is Masters Universe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, very cool.
With drugs, you know.
Yeah, so it's exactly the same.
It's just the writers are on them this time. It's just the characters are on them.
There you go. Yeah. But I mean, so like space herpes, I was cracking up with for space herpes. There's just so many like little things to the entire book that it just doesn't stop. You know?
Yeah, space herpes is from Ice Pirates.
I don't know Ice Pirates.
Oh my God. It's this like cheesy, awesome 80s. Ron Perlman's in it actually. And it's just like fun. It's like kung fu robots and like this starts out like in a Mad Max setting, and then he ends up getting space herpes.
Hell yeah, I see it. Okay.
I've never seen this movie. I feel like I just need to be writing down half the stuff you're saying, because I feel like I was a 90s kid, not an 80s kid. Like I was born, and Hunter, you were born in the 90s, right?
I was born 91.
Yep, and I was born in like mid 80s. So like I was right on the cusp of watching like this stuff when it was like on TV.
Yeah, same.
Especially some of these movies, and they don't make them like this anymore. Like,
oh, absolutely not. So
in our Marvel society where everything has to make $1 billion or it's a failure, they're not going to make some like cheesy, weird. It's like Spaceballs wouldn't exist, you know?
Yeah, I do a stream show called Raviolis for Randy with Joey Royale from Get Haunted Industries, did Ninja City and like Darkest Dice and all that. And it's all about movies and it's all about VHS nostalgia. Like I'm a big tape head. I collect VHSs and I got like a VCR right here and stuff like. So I mean I talk about Ice Pirates I think in our sci-fi one. Like you should definitely check out the show. It's sick nasties as the kids say. I dump them all on YouTube too, so you can watch. We just did season 2, episode 1 with Levi Combs and talked about his favorite trashy VHS cinema. I believe it was Sunday.
It's awesome. I talked to some great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked. It's like 3-hour episodes though. Like it's just like stream of conscious. We're just like, oh, you remember this? You remember that? But then like, yeah, I talk about like the MCU and that one, how like, just like ridiculous world we live in where like everything's pacified when it comes to movies because they need to make money, right? Yeah. Like they need to make that money to make it like to actually be like successful, I guess. Like so they're never gonna make like those good schlocky movies anymore because they're afraid to. But Psycho Gorman was good. Hobo with a Shotgun, Turbo Kid, Mandy, like all these like these
Mandy
movies.
was good.
Yeah, I mean, Mandy is like, come on, like that is like Cheddar Goblin, like, and then what's the one? Willy's Wonderland was really good. Like they make them, they're just like very few and far between.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but
yeah, the industry's really turned away from. I mean, like, there's not a home movie market anymore. Like,
well, no, I mean, we talked about that too. That streaming killed like the home movie market because you're not gonna you're not going to go to Blockbuster or your Family Video and pick a movie and be stuck with
it. Hell yeah.
Stuck with it for a weekend, right? Now, if you don't like it, you're just going to turn it off and like watch something else with thousands of different choices.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the big thing, right? It's like, movie companies, since they can't rely on that second wave of income, like they just make it for theatrical release. So it's like, cool. It's got to be massive and over the top and like this ultra cinematic Marvel movie, Star Wars, Disney property.
Star Wars, the same.
Like formulaic at this point, though.
Yeah. That's the other thing. They got to stick to the formula because they're afraid to stray the path. Unfortunately, because there's like so many good things they can do with like all those IPs that they're never gonna do because they're afraid.
Oh, dude, there's like, I mean, speaking of fucking Disney stuff, but Star Wars, there's like a Star Wars Legends, like the previous Stars. We're getting off topic. The point being,
that's what happens when I show up.
Good shit you can do. Yeah, your show sounds like I would enjoy listening to.
Oh yeah, it's like
it's
it's a good show. I and then we also have a show called Wax Packs Massacre where we open up old 80s 90s non-sports cards on air. And I did a whole box of the Street Shark cards.
Oh, cool!
Shit. That's cool.
Yeah. I got I love Street Sharks. I'm a huge Street Sharks fan.
But like hearing all of this, like it's so like it's glaringly obvious that like where this game come from. You know what I mean? Like it's all your passions and love just kind of wrapped up in one game, right? Like everything you're into, cassette futurism and all of it.
Yeah. So that was a big aspect of it too, because like you can take Neon Lords and run a Mad Max style game. You can run a cyberpunk game, like, in the mega cities. You can run pretty much any kind of game you want. It's you can even run medieval because like the Kingdom of Miami's like Disneyland, like overgrown and like carnage jungles and temples and stuff. Like in the old rides and stuff, like it's medieval down there. And it's like, like there's like gladiatorial blood, like combat pits that you can like play in and shit. Like, it's everything.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of space to move around in this like really over the top, ridiculous, like Gonzo, as we said earlier, like kind of narrative space. I mean, this is definitely the game that like I would love to play with some friends, like with just beers around and
absolutely.
Just every time something ridiculous happens, drink.
That might be a
ridiculous meter.
That might be a good game mechanic.
Yeah. Gotta throw a warning up, like we do not encourage you to get too drunk, but like let me give you all these mechanics on being like blackout wasted.
Well, the problem is I don't drink at all, so like I would need someone like that actually drinks to help, I guess. Because I
go.
wouldn't know. I would be like, oh, I'll take like 3 shots here, and then like people are, like
dying.
I mean, okay, for the record, I have drunk in my life, but I just don't drink anymore. Not like like a weird like negative way. I just choose not to.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Weird.
drinking right now, so I mean, like in life, so
There
not
you
just
go.
right in this
Right, yeah.
moment, but
Yeah.
also right in this moment. So
I just buy a lot of toys, and I wouldn't be able to afford it.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
So like I said, Neon Lords, we got 1 week left on the Kickstarter. You just dropped once again something. Was it today or was it yesterday that this happened? It's like 5 new artists with like 5 new sets of dice bags that are now available on the Kickstarter.
Today, so Black Rainbow, he was like, hey, do you want to do these like extra artist bags that he had, like 5 left of each? I was like, yeah. So I got the assets, threw them up real quick, and hopefully they take traction. So it'll be pretty awesome to see. Let me see. I don't think any of them have been purchased yet. So if you want to grab one of them high speed, cool artist bags, they are still available.
There you go. And then we just passed the 20K stretch goal. That's going to be the Series 2 Pogs. And I see for the 25K goal, that's question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Is that going to stay at question marks until we hit 25K? Or
So I spoiled it the other day on a stream with Moose. I'll spoil it again here. It is a sheet of temporary tattoos.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it
And,
has
like,
to be.
Like the old like peg warmer one, right? That has that sits there and it's got all the designs like on the white sheet.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What's up. So you'll get your book, you'll get your pogs, you'll get your temporary tattoos. That's what's up. So if right now, like you said earlier, this is pretty much the only place to get Neon Lords, right? It's pretty much sold out everywhere,
sold out everywhere. Yep. Exalted sold out. All the Problems in the World. He bought a couple copies in Berlin and he sold out within days. There was like a Portland gaming store had some, they sold out. There's another Olympia card and games, they sold out. They were actually one of the original store backers, and they sold out, and they said like people still like are asking for copies, so they backed again. So I mean, like,
wow.
our biggest problem is that not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah, totally.
Like I feel like we have a solid game, like everybody loves it, but it's just like getting the word out there is the biggest problem. So that's why I'm constantly like grinding on like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, which I'd rather be writing, but like unfortunately that's just the world we live in now, that you have to be half like writer, like designer, and half like carnival, like circus barker.
Yeah, media expert,
Yeah, so I mean, it's whatever. But people got those people, but like I'm all those people. I do everything except for the art. That's the only thing I can't do. I can't draw, but everything else you see I've done.
Oh, there you go. Are you gonna have is it gonna be print to backer numbers on this, or are you gonna try to have like an extra stock so it can spread out a little bit more this time?
No, this one the reason why it was a little priced a little higher at funding at 15 was to get like extra stock too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I got extra stock last time, but we just sold out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good problem to have. I mean, like,
I know that's what I was saying. It was a good problem. I mean, I do have 2 boxes. So we did the first one, we did the original cover, and then we did a Kickstarter exclusive Diogo cover with foil like printing on it and stuff. And that was a nightmare to do. I'm never doing 2 covers again. Like the printing people, like, I don't understand. Like, why do you want 2 covers? It's like, well, calm down. Like, I'll figure it out. So I kept an A box and a B box for myself. Other than that, I mean, I have like copies that got fucked up in the printing, or like a forklift ended up hitting a box. So I got like some messed up copies. But other than that, yeah, we're straight sold out.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you did like an Instagram giveaway where with the Diego Nogueira cover, which was fantastic, and I ended up getting that, which was wonderful. I wanted to pull it out of the box so I could show it off, and then ADHD and night shift made me not do that. It's still in the bottom of the box, but it's cool. I mean, I'm sorry it was a headache, but I'm glad you did it because that cover is beautiful. I love the green like foiling across the front of it. It's beautiful.
it worked out. It worked out great in the end, but man, lessons learned. And then of course I'm not going to adhere to them because I was like pricing out some Neon Maniacs Eyes Only, and one of the products you can foil stamp, and I'm like, foil stamping, I like that. Despite the fact it was like the biggest headache to do, I was like, well, because like they told me, they're like, hey, your logo, we're not gonna be able to foil stamp that because we can only do letters, we can't do shapes. And I said, well, a letter is a shape, right? And they're like, well, I guess. And then they like that next day they emailed me back like, hey, we figured it out. It's like, yeah, no shit.
There you go.
So it worked out. But yeah, it is fantastic. It looks phenomenal. I'm very happy with it, despite the fact that it was a nightmare. But
well, I'm very excited. What do you think is the delivery date for to actually have this in your hand for the second edition?
So the beautiful thing about it is that it's mostly written. I just got a few pages. It's all written. I just am laying it out because I lay it out myself, and then it's going to get shipped out to a professional proofreader. I don't know who yet. And then Mustafa's got a little bit of art to fill. So we gave ourselves a padding of April, because Black Rainbow has to screen print the shirts, screen print the hats, like screen print more bags because we're doing way more bags than anticipated, and all the posters because we got like all the I'm covering the one, but there's like the cover, they're all blacklight hand printed. A lot of people buying them too, so it's just like a lot of moving parts and a lot of pieces, like pogs getting made. And then spoiler, well, it's not a spoiler. It's been the only hint I'm giving out for Neon Maniacs Eyes Only pack is it comes with a pair of 3D glasses.
Got to, because of course.
Yeah.
So
because one of the adventures in it is in 3D. It's a 3D experience. So it's coming with 3D glasses. And of course, like in true fashion of me, like I can pay 20 cents for blank white 3D glasses, or I could pay 60 cents full art color Neon Lords crazy glasses.
Yeah.
You got to. I mean, come on.
But it's like 40 cents for one color. So I'm talking Moose into letting me splurge a little and get the 60-cent full color bad boys.
Yeah, come on, Moose. Gotta have full color.
I'll talk him into it.
All right. So
even if it comes out of my like the end, I will put my own money into making them full color.
There you go.
That's the Neon promise right there.
There.
Yeah. I mean, like. No, go ahead. I'll just say, I mean, think about it. Like you open it up, it's like full color 3D glasses. You're like, God damn, yes, this is what I want. Because it's like what I would want as a customer. It's what I do, right? So like that's why everything's over like ridiculous, and I don't make any money ever. I actually lose a lot of money, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. I'm sure Lord Randy appreciates everything you're putting in for them. So 7 days left on the Kickstarter. For those that have not backed yet, definitely should go ahead and back the second edition. I'm super excited. Obviously, I'll back to the nines with like the t-shirt and the trucker hat and the whole thing. So excited to wear that while we play, because I'm 100% going to be a Brudicorn. But is there, outside of the Kickstarter, anything else that anyone can be directed towards? I know that the PDF is on ttrpg, but is that about it for right now?
Yeah, pretty much the PDF. So the PDF on drive-through is going to get updated to the Total Carnage edition, because I'm not doing 2 PDFs. That's ridiculous. Like I won't be able to keep up with it. You know what I'm saying? So like it's going to just get updated, and there's going to be, that's it. Like whoever bought the PDF in ages past will get the Total Carnage edition.
Nice.
All right. Nice. Yeah. And then they'll have both. That's awesome. So
I don't know. They may have both. It depends how if you update drive through. Yeah, I mean, I guess they would have both.
Yeah, because they'll download the one and they'll get to re-download the second one.
Yeah, so, but if they lose the first one, then you're SOL.
SOL, man. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
So hey, thank you, Brian, so much for coming on the show.
No problem.
We
Thanks
are
for
excited to dig into this game. So that's exactly what we're going to do next. Is hop in. This is one of the bigger books we've actually reviewed on the show, so we actually had to like take notes and talk about what we wanted to cover, which was interesting. But yeah, if you haven't back it, Brian, over the top, can't thank you enough for this game and for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
And
great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, stick around, everybody, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes. Hello, and welcome back to the Weekly Scroll podcast. We were just with Brian Shutter, the creator, writer, and everything but the art, shout out Moose, of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. So we are going to hop into that. And Brian, Neon Lords RPG in the chat, said he's going to be here for the review. So if and when we have questions, it's always nice to have the creator here.
Absolutely.
So there we go. So we're just gonna fucking jump in. Oh no. Pro wireless is critically low. Let me plug that in real quick. And here we go. All right. So Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. We talked about two covers earlier. The cover art of the alt version is actually a piece of art in the book, so I'll try to remember to point that out. But love the art style, love the colors straight off the bat with the cover, and I genuinely think that there's not a better way you could describe what this game is about than this picture.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's perfect.
And like dial-up edition, this video cassette will melt if left in your car. Like that's what's up. Absolutely love it. I totally get. I mean, and we both assumed. I think both of the top two reasons why the book itself isn't in color are what we. Oh, must be my keyboard. Are exactly what we assumed. It's probably expensive as fuck, and it's BX, so it's got that old school feel. It'd still be nice to have like this much color just puking on your face through the entire book, though. Gotta say. But so Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland core rules, mutants and mullets. I'm going to read some of this as we go in. Not going to be able to read all of it, but I love the super savage systems like Sega logo.
It's funny. I totally missed that the first time I went through it, and I went back. I was like, oh, that's very funny. Like,
yeah, it's fantastic. So this is just talking about, so I'm gonna skip to the straight to the rules for this, and then I love like all of the big spreads through here. Like there's again nothing you could describe more about Neon Lords than this 6-armed super buff bro and all his bromies like underneath them
with their hammers and their armor.
Yeah.
All of them are just fucking ripped and
yeah. And out of these dark times came the gnarly age, a time where humanoids no longer fear the evil of the wastelands. Now they take up arms against the mutant overlords and what slime-ridden horrors lay within the ruins of the forgotten world. All this fuss for some of that rich stuff. Take heed, stranger, for these are still times of great bogus peril. May Lord Randy bless your slaughter and keep you rad, says some old crusty dude. Oh, this is the 6-armed Lord. That's straight up Lord Randy.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly, and I said it in the interview and I'll say it again, the Lord Randy reference blew right past me. I literally was like, I'm going to wait to ask him. I want to ask the guy specifically, why Randy? And then you were like, fucking Randy Savage. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. So right off the bat, I have a couple questions about the table of contents. One, well, it's not hyperlinked. So got to say that. But two, one thing I noticed is some of them, it's like 101 to 146, but I feel like 101 to 96. I don't like, am I wrong that it's backwards or am I just not?
Wait, where are you looking? Hold on. I'm not looking where you
like on hacking. Like some of them, like the things go backwards.
101.
Because again, fucking idiot. Because I was like, it's page 101 to page 96.
No, it's hacking 101.
Brian said the OG PDF is hyperlinked. Gotcha. So, going into the introduction, we'll talk about what
is that
Neon
coffee?
Lords...
Are you drinking coffee?
Of course I'm drinking coffee. What do you mean? I've been drinking it all the whole time.
You know, this guy stays up all night long, you know?
Oh, so I'm using the dial-up edition. I don't get the bookmarks on that one. Got it. All right. Dial-up edition is compressed version for ease of use. Makes sense. Well, I can't really knock for not having hyperlinks when I got the edition that specifically doesn't have it for compression.
Honestly, it sounds like it's your fault. So,
I mean, that's what it is. So, introduction. to Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. Millions of years ago, in the Flesh God year of 1992, you were one, was the start of the Neon Wars that destroyed mankind and ushered in the Bogus Age. In the darkness of the Bogus Age, the seeds were planted that would grow into the Gnarly Age. The first of the dwarfling migrant ships appeared. Abadox, the first war wizard, cast his first spell, bringing unholy magic from hell to Earth. The star spawn and the Arachnoids' galactic war was brought upon the atmosphere of Neo-Terrax, as well as her surface. Terror Rex, the Techno-Lich, rose and fell from power. These are but a few of the rad things that happened between 1992 and now. Pretty cool, eh? Like, come on. You know? So we are in the... What's up?
I do love this. I do love like the very like 90s like cartoonish like
like schlocky,
culture,
just like
pop
over the top
culture that this game is. Like honestly, like this is like we're gonna go through this in like every moment where like it shines in that regard. Like it's very like if you want to like dive into this some fun like semi nostalgic. I don't think you necessarily need to have knowledge of this to be like to enjoy it, but like you can if you want to enjoy this like early 90s like late 80s nostalgia for like pop culture, toys, games. Like this is such I mean really it really strikes it very perfectly, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that Brian said specifically was, I mean, if you're under 25, like you missed all that shit. But you don't
but it's
need...
still cool.
No, that's what I'm saying, is you don't need to know any of that nostalgic stuff to think this is just gonzo and awesome. But for all of us 30-plussers, there's that extra layer underneath where you're just like, I miss Pogs, you know what I mean? So
I do wonder with like the internet age, like how much like younger people would actually miss a lot of these pop culture references, because I'm sure there's a lot of this media they've taken in just by nature of being online and taking in media, you know.
Do you really think you got a bunch of 20-year-olds out there right now that know it's like 20? Like they know what street trucks are?
In our weird little niche art culture,
true.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, what's great about it is that they Google the shit, they can find it now because all that stuff's on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So just open up the 80s and 90s to a whole new generation. They already wanted to bring back like low-rise jeans and fucking other 90s.
Bring back low-rise jeans, damn it.
Don't. Ew. High-rise all day.
Absolutely.
No, gross. Keep those belly buttons tucked away.
Hide your sin.
Post-apocalyptic cassette futurism. That is what Neon Lords is. It's a pseudo-medieval Earth built upon the ruins of the Forgotten World. Basically, it is Gonzo, Toxic Wasteland, Mad Max with every 80s, 90s pop reference culture you could possibly have. And why should you play this game? It's an ultra-violent, styles matter RPG that builds off the BX rules. Half medieval fantasy, half sci-fi. Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland is no holds barred to the max game with an emphasis on an ability point system, which is really fun. I'm excited to read about that, or to talk about that, including fortune points, which is fantastic. You know, again, 80s, 90s tech it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So just chill, crack open some tab, and roll some damage. I love it. So what is Neon Lords about? It is, we talked about it, it's a tabletop game. It is. And that is what it is. What are you going to need? Some homies and some dice, pretty much, and this book. And not much more than that. You pick a GM, which is your Neon Lord. Everyone else makes characters based on the book. And then you start going. We're not going to go over to how to use this book section. You read it. And then play what's in it. And then let's party. So getting down to the explanation of the rules. Dice are used to determine various outcomes of the action. It's a full polyhedral set. Again, this is BX. For those that don't know what BX is, because maybe you don't, it's basic and expert. It's like the early rules of D&D, the original, and then their more complicated, you know, add-on to it. Yeah, read, roll, die. There is some percentile die sections. Neon Lords likes the odds when you're rolling on a percentile die you roll under is a success, and any successful roll of matching numbers, 1 1s, 2 2s, 3 3s, is considered a crit success, and a roll of 100 is a critical failure. There are Neon Blast rolls, which is just exploding dice, which is a mechanic that I really love, and I wish I saw more. because it just no matter
you do
anytime it's in
always
something,
really love like floating dice.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't put it in anything though. Not a single thing, but I like it.
Yeah, I love
like
it. I never use it for anything, but I really do like it. You know.
I mean, again, for those that don't know what exploding dice are, basically, if you roll the maximum result on a damage die, you can roll again and just keep adding. And so if your maximum damage die is D6 and you roll a 6, you roll again and keep adding and adding. If you roll 5 6s in a row, you just keep going, and that's basically what exploding dice is. And I love the rule of cool, because if there was anything else, especially for this game specifically, it would be ridiculous.
This game is like the personification of the rule of cool, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just go fucking like go absolutely balls to the wall in every moment. It's like, oh, okay, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what the rule of cool is. Like, don't be a fucking rules lawyer and pick at someone's cool fucking idea. If someone does something insane, give them a fun, awesome success. You know, enjoy the fun of the game because it's cool as shit, and just keep going. Fumbles and criticals. So fumbles are ones. Your crits are your 20s. If you get a fumble, you roll on the total bummer table. If you get a crit, you can roll on to the max table in various different circumstances. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And a lot of times that you do with specific characters, which is neat. There's never really a time you're like 100% this isn't a thing. Talked about that. Saving throws. The saving throw represents a chance that a special attack may be avoided or have its effect reduced. A saving throw is made when with a D20 when the Neon Lord asks for one. So much like a lot of the games that people are aware of, especially if you've played 5e before, this is where it came from. So a lot of it's going to seem familiar. Saving throws is D20. So the whole system is D20 roll over for the most part, and then there are some D20 roll under sections. So there are 4 saving throws on top of your normal stats: grit, agility, resolve, and death. Grit's what it sounds like. It's physical stuff, drug resistance, things like that. Agility is reflex based. Resolve is your resistance to mind magic, and death is obviously death.
What's it? Can you elaborate on death for us?
So when someone dies, 7 pounds. So the art all the way through, I love this shot of a lot of the different characters. Again, my favorite, the Brudicorn. And then I love the "what a bunch of a-holes" line right here as we get into the character creation section. We always love this. I love a nice numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight through.
Fantastic. I like it's so funny because it's like such a small thing and like semi-obvious, except not everyone does it. And every time I see, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I know exactly what to do. Makes everything so much easier.
It just runs straight through the numbers, and you're just like, wait, what do I do next? Oh,
it's also just really easy to hand off to like a player. Because if I ever ran this off, I would read it 15 times and internalize it. But like my player's not going to do that. But it's like, hey, there's fucking 7 steps, and the 8th one's just try not to fucking die. You know?
Yeah. So grab your barf bag and listen up. The rad treasure out there ain't gonna find itself. Time to get up and get filthy stinking rich. You gotta make a badass character and go lay waste to some muties. So steps on what to do. Number 1, roll 3d6 for each of your ability scores right down the list, and you can swap them. You can swap one ability score just once. Pretty standard D&D stuff or BX stuff. Choose between 11 classes. There's more now. We talked about street class and hidden classes, or street sharks, sewer sharks, and all that stuff. Each one has their own special abilities and sweet moves. Number 3, roll 3d6 for your class ability points. So you refer to each of the class abilities. I think we're each going to go over one. Like I picked, obviously, because I've talked about it the whole time, fucking Brudicorn. And you're going to talk about
War Wizard.
Obviously.
Yeah. I'd be out here with the magics. You know, I'm kind of a wizard boy, you could say.
Yeah, you are the wizard boy.
I am the resident wizard boy.
Choose your hairstyle. Love this part, that your hairstyle actually gives you stats and things like that.
It's so that fucking ridiculous.
It is.
I was like,
love
okay,
it.
hell yeah.
The number of times that we said that, and we'll say it like again and again, just like, this is like ridiculous, as I chuckle and laugh and like love every second of it. Like all the time is just like the entire book basically. And always in a good way. So you choose your hairstyle that fits your character. Add your number 5. Add your modifiers gained from your class and hairstyle and adjust your ability scores accordingly. Number 6. Roll up hit points. Each class has a die needed in their own section. Number 7. Roll up your starting gold and snag up all the additional stuff you may need on top of your starting gear. Don't forget to hire some dudes for hire. And number 8. Try not to die. I love that that's a number. And every time you do die, just start from number 1 and keep going. So going into prime ability scores. So you got 6 stats. You got burliness. I love the tweaks to the names too, because you have to, right? You got burliness, prowess, endurance, brains, attitude, sleaze, and fortune. That's 7 things. But fortune is not like one of the cores.
Right.
The class, yeah. The class ability scores roll the same way, but should be considered a sub-ability score. Roll 3d6 for each one. Swap any 2 once if you want. This is optional. It should also be noted that you cannot choose to swap your class ability roll with that of your prime ability roll. So prime is prime for a reason. But there is the Neon Lord's Grace. Don't say they ain't never gave you nothing. If your Neon Lord is a benevolent lord, I'm not. They may allow you to toss away this wimp. Yeah. I would let people do this. They may allow you to toss away this wimp you pulled out of a bio-flesh regenerator with hopes of giving them a purpose and life among the vile scum. If this specimen isn't up to snuff and doesn't fit the class you would like to play, sacrifice him to the Chaos Gods to gain a 1d4 to the ability score of your choice. The ability is chosen prior to rolling the 3d6 and the 1d4. The ability bonus gained from the 1d4 is also added to your sleaze ability. I love that.
Yeah, I think the adding it to the ability is really cool because you can, like, you know, if you were trying to aim for something, you can get it, but also the fact that you have to take it to your sleaze score as well.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good one.
And when we get into sleaze, you guys understand why it's not always a good thing to have a lot of sleaze, which, you know, just by its name surprising, so you know. But ability score mods, again, if you have played any of the BX or anything else, it's pretty similar. So your score gives you a modifier when you roll your 3d6. 3 is a -3, all the way up to 18, which is a +3. And right next to it is this box that says roll under. When called upon by the almighty Neon Lord to roll an ability check, a success is under your ability score, and a failure is over the ability score. So for most of the game, it's d20 roll over. But if you're doing a check that requires your ability score, so ability checks, it's roll under.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the first one is burliness.
Burliness.
This measures how swole you are, and how you can pick things up and put them down. If that's not a reference to the like the Lunk Alarm, like Planet Fitness, I pick things up, I put things down commercial, it is now. Their ability to kick down doors, etc. It's being swole. You got it. What's interesting about each stat is that over an 18 on all the stats give you a cool little bonus.
I love that. I thought it was like a really cool little addition. Like, and I like, if you're over 18, you're very good at this thing. And in other games, it's just like, you're just good at it. You know, you don't get anything, like, there's no representation for that other than like a dice roll. But yeah, it's very cool, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to roll 3d6 right off the start. I mean, statistically, you ain't going to do that. But if you happen to, on burliness, a burliness of 18 adds an additional +2 bonus to your attitude, which again, we'll get into in a second. Sick muscles get you far in life. Too true. So burliness has scores to hits, damage, and they actually have a door kick percentage on your burliness, except Broodcorns can kick down any door. Yeah, Broodcorns.
Yeah. Next is prowess. Yeah, prowess. So
hop in that prowess.
Prowess is your coordination, you know, throwing, shooting, dodging in combat. If you prowess of 18, adds a 20% bonus to your chance of sneaking around unnoticed. It deals with your AC, and your damage missiles essentially thrown, and then to hit missiles.
Missiles.
That's a very old school like way to refer to like a ranged weaponry is missile. You know.
Yeah.
Like where like the original magic missile comes from, it was like just the magic users like fucking shout out the classics.
Shout out to the classics. The next up we got endurance and brains. So endurance measures your overall health and resistance to pain, disease, and poison, things like that. The endurance of 18 grants the ability to ignore death saves from poisons, which is dope. I can only imagine there's probably 1 or 2 poisons in the Toxic Wasteland. Yeah. So HP per hit die, poison saves, disease saves. So everything that we're saying for those that aren't watching in podcast line, there's actually a graph, a grid underneath each one. So there's a table even is what it's called. So the endurance table gives you your modifiers based on all your stats. So you get points to your disease saves and poison saves under your endurance. And for brains, obviously, if you can figure out what that's for, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah. No, I couldn't figure it out.
The 3 R's. A brains of 18 gains you an additional 1d6 for the spell pool, which is already added. I like that because you can see, so you have your score. The table here gives you reading, writing, your spell pool, and your spell check. So if you have a score of 3, your mutant can't read or write. And all the way up to, if you have a score of 18, you get plus 3 additional languages. And then your spell pool, though, like it says, 9 to 12, 1d6. Yeah, 2d6, 3d6, and 5d6 because it's already added in. 5d6 spell pool, and then you can punch your spell checks as well.
That's pretty good. So we'll go over spellcasting because that's the section I'm covering. But I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, fucking 5d6 spell pool. I'm like, that's pretty good. Yeah. So. And attitude. So attitude's kind of like your charisma. It's the charisma, not the anti-charisma, right? So it's how cool, cocky, persuasive you can be. An attitude 18 gets you a meat shield follower, the best kind of follower, someone who just is gonna fucking take a hit for you at the beginning of the game, and at the end of any long rest conducted within humanoid sectors. So if you waste that 1 meat shield, man, all you gotta do is rest in town. And you're just such a cool motherfucker that you pick up some other poor bastard to take a hit for you. Honestly, I think it's fucking hilarious. It also twisted steel and sex appeal is the other thing that affects. So if you have a 3 is your score to attitude, you're disgusting. 4 to 5 is fugly, 6 to 8 is ugly, 9 to 12 is average, 13, 15 is good looking, 16, 17 is attractive, and 18 you're a super freak, Super freak. Super freak. Super freaky. Hell yeah. Very cool. Then we're going to class-based ability scores. So each class has like its own separate thing that it does. And it's an ability score. You can't change that with any other ones. And you roll on this one. Let's see.
And you roll for it after you pick a class. So like you can roll your stats and go, okay, I got a super high brain. I'm going to go War Wizard. And then after you've decided you're a War Wizard, then you get to roll your class score. So you can't roll everything up and just be like, all right, I'm a piece and pick and blah, 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 do whatever. Like,
and these are like points that you use for your class abilities. And then once you hit 5 and you go below that, you start like reaching like fatigue and exhaustion. And some of the classes have like, I don't know if all of them do, but some of them have like a specific thing that happens. Or do all of them have a specific thing that happens?
All of them do.
All of them do, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they all have their individual ways where they like the War Wizard had some interesting shit when you get below 5. But yeah, it's if 5 or more points are spent on one roll, it drains the character, dealing damage per point spent as well. So if you're really throwing out like a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of points all at once, you're taking damage back. Except in specific circumstances, which are also under the War Wizard has one like, no, you just don't, I think. So shout out that. Beware, Class-based ability scores can be spent to do a variety of rad abilities on each class. However, the more points spent, the harder it will be to make a class-based check, because that class-based check is that stat. So the worse it gets, the harder it is to roll under it.
I love that like as you spend the points, it's harder to use the ability. It just makes sense that like as you like burn out, as you're fatigued from doing it, you aren't able to do it as well. Yeah. So I really like that a lot.
Totally. It really does make sense. And we've seen not necessarily this, but like a lot of instances of people being like, oh yeah, as your character, like, a lot of tabletop games, a lot of the mainline ones, you're always pretty invincible as long as you sleep at night, and even then, like how many GMs do exhaustion really? But it's cool to have it baked into games where they're just like, no, as stuff happens, you just get worse at stuff, Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. If I get fucking shot, and it lowers one of my stats by, I'm thinking like Into the Odd, right? Like you take strength damage at a certain point, and it's like, yeah, you're fucking less strong now. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
And it would if you roll like 5 on your 3d6 for this, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Sleaze is fun. Sleaze. I really love Sleaze. I love this graphic across the top of it too. So you roll 3d6 for the character's Sleaze score. It measures your overall likability. The Sleaze modifier is added to any rolls in situations where Sleaze would be a factor, including but not limited to interactions with hirelings after they witness you doing unspeakable acts, being a mutant or possessing any mutations, and bartering within the black market. So when you roll a Sleaze roll, when the Leon Lord wants you to. So you got the same kind of table, but this one goes to 19 plus. Because you can actually gain Sleaze. It's the only ability score that can go past 18.
So sliding off the charts, baby.
Just a sleazy boy. So if you have a 3, you're an altar boy. I'm going to go schoolboy, goody two shoes, normal, slime ball, super sleaze, slime lord of the wasteland, and so slimy it's off the charts. I love it. I love it.
So
I love it.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. And I love Sleaze and the Holy Smiter. So Holy Smiters are basically like paladins, right? But if you are a man of God, you can't be a sleazeball. To represent this in the game, the Holy Smiter cannot gain a Sleaze ability score greater than 12. If you intend to make a Holy Smiter but roll greater than 12 for your Sleaze and you can't swap it out, you can either reroll a whole character or you become a Fallen Smiter. Yeah. Which is basically their anti-paladin. From the beginning of the game, and you get extra perks. You get the choice of a handgun / pistol firearm, and you get resistance to the negative effects of one drug of your choice.
You can just fucking take one drug all the time.
We out here snorting sea monkeys, sleaze boys. But a sleaze over 18, you can only get so smart, strong, cool, but sleaze knows no bounds. Having a sleaze higher than 18 has some perks and also has some drawbacks, which are interesting. So basically, in the Wasteland, the pros are you can become a Wasteland warlord and own a fortress and command hordes of mutants. You got
a pretty big pro.
Not only that, a sleaze of 19 gets you a mutant shield, not even a regular meat shield, a mutant shield follower right from the beginning. And at the end of any long rest conducted within mutant occupied territory, you can get another one if your mutant shield dies. It's like a meat shield, but they also get to roll on the mining mutation table. But the cons are basically it's great to be in the Wasteland. You can kiss your home sector goodbye, for you will be terminated on site if you ever step foot in a humanoid sector again. Detroit Prime has files on every 19 plus sleaze out there. So basically, if you're in the Wasteland, you're chilling. You're a giant sleazeball warlord. If you're anywhere where humans gather, you're a disgusting piece of shit and everyone wants to kill you because your sleaze is off the charts. Also, this is one of the best parts. Yeah. Every humanoid, including your own party, will never aid you in any capacity. At the end of every long rest, Each member of your party rolls 1d6, and on a 6, they wish you were dead, and today may be the day they put you in the ground themselves, and it's up to the PC. Every long rest, you're sleazy, like everyone around you.
You're such a piece of shit, you know?
Yeah.
You're such a fucking awful piece of shit. They're just like, is today the day we finally fucking kill this guy? You know, you're hanging on a ledge. You know, you got one hand on, and you're like, help me up. Like, no, get up yourself.
Yeah, right. Fucking sleaze. You want to take fortune?
No, will you take fortune? Actually, will you read fortune to me?
Yes, I will. I would love to read to you, sir.
Read
just
to
like
me.
every night before bed. The gods all.
We're like an hour-long call before bed every night. Ryan reads
right, every night. The gods all meddle in the affairs of humanoids for sheer spectacular entertainment, from Lord Rennie himself on his golden throne at the tippy top of the world to the Lord of the Dead. You roll 3d6 for the character's fortune score. So right place, right time. Some people are lucky, some ain't. Fortune measures sheer dumb luck. So this gives you fortune points that you can spend towards rolls. Luck is represented by this pool of points that are rolled at character creation. The pool never refills naturally, and I love this. What that means is, unlike class ability points, fortune points do not get regained after a long rest, and once they're spent, they're gone forever. For the most part, there's magic and supernatural means by which you can regain them. There's tables that sometimes will actually get them back for you, but pretty much what you roll in the beginning is what you get. It's a pool that allows you to change rolls. So the basic gist of fortune points is that a player can spend them to add it to their rolls. They don't regenerate, but you can't make crits or be added to saving throws with it. And you can only be added to your own rolls, not other people's. I love this. I think it's a great, and there's a bad luck table. Do you want to roll me out? Yeah, do you want to roll me a d20 on that?
I would love to. I had it pulled up already. I rolled a 2.
So go for it.
Plants start to wither around you. Food spoils and water is turned to poison.
You're gross. If a character reaches 0 fortune points, you roll on that chart. So you, sir, if you hit 0, that's what you do. You just you're like that new Pepe Frog video meme where he holds a little bird in his hand and it just like grows and then dies. The dwarflings being tied to the Lady Luck herself. If you haven't seen that, I'll send it to you.
You send it to me. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So I've seen a lot of the other Pepe the Frog one, not that one.
Yeah, so dwarflings have their own section, basically. And that is fortune. And this image right here, this giant battle scene, is actually my picture behind me, but I got it in color.
It is a very, very cool. I really do like this battle. I love that laser spider in this area, and like the laser beam just blowing apart these guys, fucking
head,
flying through the air past that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's just a really, really incredibly dynamic scene. And the more you look at it, the more you see, like, there's another head, like, flying off right here. I love these giants coming in, like, all the things they're wielding. And this one dude, like, leaping off to, like, jump on him is just fantastic. Yeah. And there's this guy in, like, one of those spiky, like, World War II helmets. Like, it's just crazy, you know? It's a great shot. I love this spread. It's really, really nice. So hairstyles. Love the shit out of this.
Give you a bonus. So you get to pick from the hairstyle, and you get a fucking bonus. For your fucking like glam lord, hairspray king or queen, or they fucking
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then so what's great is you start with one, but you can find the glam lords and get a new hairstyle whenever you can find a glam lord. But there's other ways you can do it too. So you can find a can of sprayed stiff unisex hairspray for men.
Obviously.
And toss a can of this ozone eating mix of toxic chemicals onto your dome and change it until your next long rest. So I mean, obviously once the hairspray's out, it's going to go back to what it was. But that's what you get. And you can also change your own hairstyle anytime you want to try. So you can make an attempt without the help of a glam lord. But it could have disastrous results. Why don't you roll me a 2d6?
3.
You, sir, are bad. Could be worse. You get the skull hairstyle. So,
hell yeah.
So the skull hairstyle down here. So I love that there's graphics for every single one.
I do too.
There's.
So I have my regular fucking hairstyle.
Yeah.
Clean off. Hair is a disease. At the end of every long rest, you lose 1d4 sleaze points. Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah, that could be very helpful given the situation, you know.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not in the wasteland, you could just try to go for the skull look.
Fucked up. I rolled the fucking shaved head bald guy. Wow, what kind of fucking cosmic bullshit is that?
Well, now I want to roll one. Here, let me bring up a roll die.
I do really like that. There's so many they're like this is exactly what the fucking hair looks like. You're like, okay, cool, hell yeah.
So maybe I missed it while we were doing it. What is the difference between table 1 and table 2? Because there's a D10, there's 10 on the top and 12 on the bottom.
So one's hairstyle and one's beard. One I think you get the bonus of one, but the other one's cosmetic.
What? But there's bonuses on time in both tables. So like in number 1,
I think you can take the bonuses of one, and then the other one's just cosmetic.
Oh, that's how words go together. Yeah. Oh, just had to fit them on a spread. Got it. Okay. So I rolled an 8. So too much product. I gained number 7 on the minor mutation table. So remind me that I got a minor mutation for trying to change my own hair. Cool.
Hell yeah.
If you could choose though, which one would you pick?
I mean, I always picked the bald guy in games because it's who I am as a person. I don't know. I kind of like the ones that add sleeves. Like I kind of like sleeves. Like the I think the Ice 7.
Oh, that's one I was looking at. Ice.
Add 3 to your sleeves. Ninja approved. Ninja Star is dealing additional +1 damage as well. Just like fucking what? Hell yeah. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, I really like that one.
Languages. So people speak them. Some monsters do, some don't. Yep. Monsters speak a language of their own, but there are some languages on Neoterix. Binary, which can't be spoken by humans. Bro-God, which is a divine language. Demonic, Dwarfling, Esoteric, Goblinoid, which is Dwarfling slang. Lich, Vermin Folk, Xeno Category 1, which can't be spoken by humans. And Xeno Category 2. And then there are a couple of deities and demi-bros.
Just real quick, like that is the best description of an alien language, just Xeno Category 1 and Xeno Category 2. Because it'd be an alien language with an alien fucking name, and you'd be like, yeah, I mean, that's how we're categorizing them. Like, oh, that's actually, yeah, totally.
That's it. So there's four gods here as of right now in the Pantheon. There's the Dawn Star, but it's Distant Aerial Weapons Network. So after killing the flesh gods, Dawn Star was heightened to god status itself, now known as mankind's keeper and the Lord of the Skies. Holy Sminders pray to them, temples and churches praise their name. Dawn Star can be seen gliding across the night sky, keeping watch over Neoterix, and it's a sentient satellite that ended the war that still orbits the Earth, and people pray to it. So that's dope.
Just like in real life.
Just like in real life, yeah. There's Cthulhu, which is just Cthulhu. Literally, it's like a.
Wait, so is the Lord of the Dead like since it's been long since the 3 bro gods? Is that literally the fucking Dead 3 or what I'm thinking about? The Lord of Murder, the Lord of Death, and then from D&D. I'm talking about D&D lore.
I don't know. We got Brian in the thing, but I thought the 3 bro gods were like the Lord of the Dead, Lord Randy, and the Golden Goddess, but maybe I'm completely wrong. Oh, it's the Undertaker. Well,
it's the Undertaker.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So long has it been since the 3 bro gods have walked the earth in unison. The Lord of the Dead has been locked in a cell, and of course, I mean, hell in a cell.
All right, gotcha.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Along with his fellow bro god, the Ultimate Lord, it's believed they were both locked away by the Savage One himself. Those who still worship the Lord of the Dead do so with the necropolis that is adorned with his likeness.
Very funny.
And then, of course, there's Lord Randy, the Savage one. I don't know how I saw Lord Randy, the Savage one, and still
Yeah,
end
I
up
missed
rating.
Lord of the Dead, which is so. Well, we'll both just take the L on this one, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with Hulk Hogan's sleeping bag before he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan, obviously. So I was a big Hulk Hogan fan when I was younger, not so much Randy Savage. I met, for those who know who these people are, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Nikita Koloff in a Ryan's family restaurant in Texas when I was a kid. Had their autographs.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know if a lot of people know Nikita Koloff, but a lot of people know Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He did one of the first people that did like the tricks off the rope. Nope. Okay. So that's obviously the Lord Randy, the king of the gods and the last of the flesh gods. He sits upon a cosmic throne of eternity, casting judgment and wrath. And then my favorite, love Lord Randy, but the Golden Chaos, the queen of chaos, the Golden Goddess. Not much is known about this four-headed god. The Order of the Golden Dawn is a cult that worships her, and they managed to decipher the names of each head that sits separately on top of her shoulders. Rose, Dorothy, Blanche, and Sophia.
So fucking ridiculous, damn it.
I love it so much. I love it. So we're getting into choosing classes. There are 11 classes to choose from. Brudicorn, Cosmic Barbarian, Cyberskin, Deathbringer, Dwarfling, Holy Smiter, Night Stalker, Skulljammer, Starspawn, and the War Wizard. So I love Deathbringer and Night Stalker, but I had to go Brudicorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and I had to go War Wizard. So
well, you had to. I mean, that's us. The dragon is a demi bro. Hell yeah. Brudicorn, half bicorn, half machine, all attitude. So to sum this up, basically there are two bicorn gangs in the Wastelands. The Brudicorns must earn a meager living through their only means to know is killing. So these two bicorn gangs have been at war for hundreds of years, right? But unfortunately, people lose bits and pieces, right? Arms, legs, those kind of things. So when they can be replaced by machine bits, great. But the elders on both sides of this war do not accept these quote unquote abominations as their own. So when you are a casualty of this war, in that you're still alive but you lose bits and pieces of yourself, you can either just fucking deal with that, or you can get mechanical parts and be rejected from the Bicorn Society.
Rough.
So yeah, the latter take up work wherever they can as hired guns or adventurers themselves, trying to carve out a little fortune in the process, but they can never seem to catch a break. The sectors see them as muty scum and don't take kindly to them. So they stick to back alleys, sewers, and mutant sympathizing towns along the border. They almost kind of feel like the tieflings of this situation. You know?
Only fucking cooler, you know?
Way cooler, because they got not one horn, but two.
They got two horns.
Breaking down what a class looks like, I'll go over mine, he'll go over his, then we'll keep cruising. So hit points for a Brudicorn is 1d10 per level. Base movement speed is 40. For weapons and armor, Brudicorns cannot wear anything non-magical because they're fucking unicorns. They're bicorns even. And if non-magical armor is worn, they suffer -5 penalty to their AC. Non-magical rippers and bigger size-wise cannot be wielded by unicorn. Instead, they really enjoy shotguns, mega blasters, and switchblades, and loud booms make the Brudicorn happy. You start with a leather jacket vest, which is considered magical studded leather armor, an OG shotgun, a switchblade, a glorious mane hairstyle, and 1d8 times 10 starting tokens or GP. As far as the class abilities, you get some of those. Having half cyber body, limited magical powers, and an uncomfortable obsession with shotgun makes a Brudicorn a total menace. So you have laser fast reload. You can spend 1 mythical point to reload a shotgun as a bonus action. You don't skip leg day, so you have extremely powerful kicks, which gives the ability to kick down any non-mega reinforced door with ease. But it makes a ton of noise. Yeah. Mechanical snarl. Sounds as cool as you think. The Brudicorn gains plus 1d4 to any reaction roll involving attitude, because they're a fucking Brudicorn. There is an innate magical ability, so you can cast a bunch of minor spells, but you do not have the entire spell list. a regular caster, and you also when you cast a spell that is a 20 rolled for a spell check to hit, you don't get to use it to the max table.
Ah, boo.
Yeah.
Well, not boo, but you know. I mean, it's cool. It's a cool class that gets the little innate magic casting because it's fucking unicorn, or
you're like a little bit less than a half caster. You're almost like a ranger in D&D's kind of spell table.
Yeah, you're a 2/3
caster.
Just
get a little bit. Yeah. There are two rival gangs, the Punk Brewmeisters, which please tell me that's Punky Brewster. And Danzig's Destroyer, which I can only imagine is Danzig, have been at it for war for over a millennium. The Punk Brewmeister see the bicorns on their head as a holy conduit to manifest magical abilities. Danzig's Destroyer see it as a ferocious melee weapon. And you get faction perks for whichever one you pick. It is for Punky Brewster. Awesome. So the Punk Brewmeisters, they harness more of their magical ability of their bicorns. They can harness the Chaos Winds into a magical blast that shoots out of their bicorn in a straight line up to 20 feet in front of them. And you must spend mythical points to do that. And it's shot during the magic phase of combat. The phases of the combat are interesting. That's fun. It's Tony Danza, not Danzig. It's Punky Brewster versus Tony Danza, says Brian Shutter. That's awesome. So basically, the Punk Brewmeisters give you a magical beam out of your bicorns. And the Danza Destroyers gives you a melee attack with your bicorn. It is called the Double Trouble, and you pack twin corn power. I wonder if that's supposed to mean horn. No, it's corn, because it's unicorn. The horn deals 1d6 damage, but if you get a running start of 15 feet from the target, you gain an additional +4. So you can get 1d6 +4 melee if you're a Danza Destroyer, and a magical beam if you're not.
It's respectable,
right? Bruticorn spells. There's 3 of them here. There's the Chat Attack, which basically you insult and flick off your opponent, and the barrage of expletives and vulgar hand gestures gives them a -2 to their AC on the next spell phase. There's a Brutal Blast, which is basically an energy blast out of your shotgun. There's Locked On Target, where you can lock onto a target, enhancing your ability to shoot with your boomstick, getting a +3 to hit. And then the class-based ability Mythical. We talked about the mythical point, and this is what explains that. Dominance over mechanical parts requires use of your mythical essence. So your mythical class points table is your basically ability points table for this, is what I assume. If a mythical points drop below 5, roll on this chart anytime a Bruticorn wants to spend another mythical point. And there you go. So +21. I'm gonna roll a d20 real quick and just pick something on this table. I got a 12. So stay gnarly, regain all HP and mythical points. Get your metal ass up, soldier. You weren't cybernetically enhanced yesterday. And then you get some stuff at 5th level. When you embrace your ancestors, you get Munitions Expert. At 5th level, you gain the ability to utilize a special shell for your shoddy. You got armor piercing rounds, napalm, an execution round, electro, spread shot, and buzzsaw. Each one doing different things. Bloodsaw does bleeding damage, and spread shot does a cone instead of a straight line, things like that. Super cool. And then you get the advancement table, which gives you attack, spell checks, grit, agility, resolve, death, XP, like all those things as you advance all the way through level 10. And I like that it stops at 10, because after that, it's enough. That's enough. And that is the entire Bruticorn.
Hell yeah. War Wizard time.
Scrolling fast. Sorry for everyone watching, getting nauseous.
52, just so you know.
I was almost there. There you go. There's your boy.
Fucking War Wizard will tear your soul apart. The little quote is, I saw a streak of yellow light fly by my face as the goblin dropped to his knees in agonizing pain. The skin on his face bubbled and sizzled while it melted off the bones onto his hands. This unholy chaotic abomination cannot be trusted. We need to destroy him at all costs. So War was interesting because it's a wizard, but you make a deal with a being of hell, essentially, the demon lord, to gain your powers. It's almost like a witch or a warlock. You trade your soul for some arcane power. Hit points, 1d4 hit points per level, pretty low. You know, you're a squishy boy. 25 movement feet. You cannot wield any melee weapons aside for your chaos conduit, which is your staff that you use to channel your power. However, you can pick up a firearm and use it, but it is a -3 penalty to hit. You can't wear armor, only robes and cloaks. Starting equipment, you start with your staff, design of your choice. That's your chaos conduit. You have a living, sick as fuck, by the way. You have a living metal cloak, which grants an AC bonus equal to your brains modifier. Totally makes sense. Very cool. So the higher your brains modifier, the higher your AC. You have a human hide spell book, which fuck Jesus Christ. And you have a skull. Ryan, do you have a dice opener? Dice roller open?
I got a whole dice opener. Yeah. What do we got?
A dice opener rolling. Roll me a d6 to figure out whose skull we have.
Oh, dope. It's two skull.
To a rival war wizard. So you just have the fucking skull of a rival wizard you just keep with you. Fuck, in my game, it might talk to you, you know? So rad abilities. A war wizard's rad ability helps him or her cast his gnarly black magic or rad abilities. So you start with Demon Pack at level 1, right? After performing this like black mass ritual, which is shrouded in mystery, and really only the most power hungry people like look for it. During the ritual, the war wizard appeals to a random demon lord, and you roll 1d20 on the demon lord list. Where is the demon lord list? Is it below? Yeah, demon lord list. Let's go ahead and we'll get there in a second. We'll roll when we get down there so we can stay up here reading all the fun stuff. So from there, you gain 4 random first level spells and then 1 signature spell of your demon lord. After first level, meatbag wizards get to pick their own spells. Turn off my nightlight. Sorry about that. Chaos Conduit. Very cool ability. If you're out of spells for the day, you can use your chaos points, which is your class ability score. And for each 1 point spent, you can shoot like a radioactive laser out of your chaos conduit that is 1d4 plus brains per point, right? So if you spend 2 points, it's 2d4 plus brains, you could really go off. With great power, a war wizard can sacrifice all of their chaos points towards 1 roll. Treat this roll as a natural 20. This offering to chaos causes no damage to the war wizard and ignores the first roll on the chaos class point table, which is fucking sick. You can just go all out for one. You know what? Fuck it. Let's fucking fire off. That's your supernova. Death Growl. If the war wizard would go to 0 HP, they can spend 2 chaos points to go to 1 hit point instead. If this causes the chaos wizard to roll on the chaos ability table, ignore the roll. The pure hatred that runs through the war wizard's vein keeps him alive. You're just so full of piss and vinegar. You're just not going down.
Nah, fuck it. I'm not dying today.
Devil's Crit. During the spell pull process, which we'll get to in spellcasting, if 3 6s are rolled, so if you roll 6 6 6, ooh, I'm blurry again. Blurry. So if you roll 6 6 6, you can ignore the rest of the dice and gain the ability to cast max spells. So max whatever your pool is for the day. Which, like, if you have a fucking 5d6 pool, then that's plus level and then plus something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, fuck, you could have 8 spells for the day right out easy, you know? Chaos is your class-based ability. It's essentially you're manipulating the chaos of magic. Chaos class points table. When a war wizard drops below 5 points, this is the table that you roll on. The size of the die rolled depends on how many chaos points remain. Roll 1d4 at 5, 1d6 for 4, 1d10 for 3, 1d12 for 2, 1d20 for 1 point. If no chaos points remain, roll 2d20. So Ryan, you want to roll 2d20, and I'm gonna roll a d10.
Ooh, 13, baby.
13, what'd you get?
I got a mind is a terrible thing to waste. The spell is lost in the winds of chaos until the war wizard's next long rest.
Nice. I got backfire. The spell receives -2 or adds +2 to the target's saving throw and leaves a horrible scar on the war wizard. 1d4. You roll. I'm gonna roll a d4 real quick. I rolled a 1. The scar across the cheek. You know. So yeah, you shoot that, shoots back at you. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually really do like the way I am so picky about magic users and wizards. And I will say that going through this and then going through the spells that you had available, I was like, oh, I do really like this one. It is over top. It's zany. Like the spells are cool. You know, they're very much like you're gonna feel fucking cool. Calling Randy Savage down from heaven to throw a bow on somebody. Fucking, some of that shit. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. So next page we have the same advancement table that I think each class has. Level, attack, spell check, grit, agility, resolve, death, and the XP to get to each level. Below that you have spells known by level. So level 1, you start with that four random spells and then the signature spells. Level 2, you get a level 2 spell. I also am going to be, I kind of like the spell breakdown per level. It feels fairly generous. You know what I mean? Like you get a lot per level. At level 4, you have, 9 spells. One of them is level 3. Yeah, like that. It feels good. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Fuck yeah, you can fucking torch some shit. At 5th level, the War Wizard has become a nightmare's force to be reckoned with. Just through everything they've acquired through their career, they can now cast 2 spells a turn, and gain a +3. An additional +3 to this brain's ability score. So you fucking 5th level, man, you start going off. You can cast 2 spells a turn. That's
huge.
It's huge. Also just feels fucking, once again, it just feels fucking sick. Like it just like, I like how fucking like sick it feels to be a wizard in this one. You're just like blowing shit up, rain and fire. Demonic dice at 5th level. The War Wizard has become a Grand Wizard. They get a title, and it comes with an ability to use the power of the demonic dice. Every time the War Wizard casts a spell, you roll 3d6. If you roll triples, you get an effect on this table, and if you don't, you just ignore the dice completely. Every time you cast, you'll roll 3 dice. So if you roll 3 1s, doom is inevitable. You take 1d6 damage. It's just fucked. Roll all 2s, unholy heal. Your demon lord gives you 1d4 HP. All 3s, path to greatness, you regain spent chaos points. All 4s, infernal sight, gain true sight until a long rest. 5s, the demon lord grants you 5 additional chaos points, and all 6s, obviously the best, 666. Demon lord blesses you with additional random spell cast simultaneously of a lower level. So as you're casting, like you just get a fucking lower level spell cast at the exact same time. It's very chaotic. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love that it only goes to 10 and you get something at 5th, and that's
then that's great. Like, I mean, frankly, how many games have any of us played that went above? I mean, even like 8, and like some of the games that kind of slog after after 10.
Well, I mean, like our Evo campaign. Yeah, our Evo campaign went for well over 2 years. And we were at like level 15, 16, something like that. But like I don't want a class where I get something at 2nd and 3rd and 5th and 7th and 11th and 15th and 19th.
It's so and it makes everything feel so far away. Like 5th level. You're 5th level. You're like, you're fucking, you're in this game. I mean, even in like the dragon game at 5th level, you're pretty fucking strong. But in this game, it's like, you're a crazy wizard at 5th level. Like you get, you get a cool title and you get to fucking cast demon spells and shit. Like, it's great. I think last one. Please excuse me. At 5th level, you can take on an apprentice. The apprentice is going through its own black mass ritual. So the apprentice drinks your blood for 30 days straight. They're like a level 0 character. The apprentice is controlled by the PC, but if they die, the War Wizard loses 1d4 levels. So if you have an apprentice and you die, you get to roll a d4 and you lose that many levels because this is a punishment. Demon Lords don't want you killing your apprentices. They want more apprentices, you know?
Rule of 2, baby.
Yeah, rule of 2. Yeah. Yeah, they want you to have more apprentices. They punish you if you kill them. Once the apprentice reaches level 1, they leave. They don't need a master any longer. They're their own wizard. But yeah. And then next we have the list of the Demon Lords, which I totally did this wrong earlier. But let's go ahead and I'm going to roll a d20. Yeah, see who our Demon Lord is. 17, Shax, and Wargasm is the spell, which we'll get to when we get there.
I rolled 11 for Marduk, and I get Undead Minion.
Undead Minion, great one.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so that's the fucking War Wizard. And I'm stoked to get through this and get to like my section of where I'm going to talk about spell casting, because we're going to touch on a couple of spells because I just want to illustrate like they're just fucking cool, you know? They just feel cool to cast.
Yeah. This is it's a dope wizard. You don't feel like a glass cannon.
Yeah,
like, I know you can't really wear armor, right?
Well, and you have 1d4 hit points starting out. You are a glass cannon, more or less. Well, no, you have the living metal cloak or whatever, which gives you AC equal to your brains modifier,
right.
AC bonus. Yeah. So you know you have some survivability. And I like that it starts with that because I feel like there were always wizards in my past Dragon games that when I was DMing, and I'd give them some sort of like intelligence-based armor. Just so that, I mean, they're still squishy and they still have fucking 8 hit points or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was cool. That was baked in.
Yeah, and that is the War Wizard and the Brudicorn.
Yeah.
Both cool. I like it. There are, like I said, there's some. All of them are really fucking cool. There's a couple other ones that I would definitely jump on.
Starspawn was really cool. You're like psychic, monk-ish type thing, you know, alien, and then Skulljammers, the hacker, and I thought that was really cool. And we'll touch on hacking too because it's in spellcasting because it kind of work very similar. And then like the Smiter, you know, if you want to fucking bash some mutant brains, you know, that's got that for you.
What's up?
Yeah.
Next, we are Fresh to Death. This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus, which, I mean, who doesn't want that? The raddest weapons and coolest armor is what every dude and dudette of Narrow Terrax have on their holiday wish list, from flamethrowers to high-tech mecha armor. It ain't the flashiest thing on the block, but it gets... No, what was I talking about? The beat stick, or your average in armor. Long story short, there are 2 rules of the Wasteland. Anyone not wearing armor has an AC of 9. A PC punching with just their meaty hand does 1 point of damage. Easy peasy. Easy. Very important things to remember. That's why they're in all caps and big and bold. Scribble it down. Don't forget it.
Write it down.
So, the blacksmith. I love this logo here.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, all of the page headers are very cool. The Fresh to Death was like
looks great.
Very cool.
It's like slime, but like with like the graffiti,
fresh Prince of Bel Air graffiti, fresh too.
Yeah. So good. To crush your enemies, see them driven. So obviously this is like a Conan kind of thing here. And then the very beginning says, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you. That's like one of the best Conan lines ever. Sure, a boring little ripper isn't as cool as some giant 2-handed plasma weapon, but you got to start somewhere. The blacksmith has everything a poor adventurer needs. So you got 2-handed weapons that go dead last in combat. You got flails, which have rollover damage. If an enemy dies, their damage left over goes to the next enemy. So it's kind of like cleave. Also, a 2-handed flail is a 2-handed weapon. You got chain whips. You got nunchucks. You got the mundane versus the exotic special weapons that are flung from the far reaches of space or been forged in a strange modified pizza oven deep under Detroit Prime are considered exotic weapons. While they may look like they're mundane, everyday counterparts, they pack an extra punch. Each exotic weapon gains a +2 to hit and a +2 to damage. So there's a lot of cool stuff here on the side, because obviously you gotta have your katanas, you gotta have your nailed clubs, you gotta have your
your katanas. You know, you're gonna have that one guy at your table playing this who wants a katana. So
you know that guy has a katana at home. You know I have a katana at home. Missile weapons.
It's on his wall, you know. His laundry all over the floor. He's got a katana on his wall. Got his waifu pillow.
Yep. Who doesn't? This bulky weapon is a 2. So there's crossbows, daggers, and hand axes. They're all missile weapons. Longbows, ninja throwing stars, short bows, sling spears.
Fucking tubular, bro.
Yeah. You got mundane armor, which is most likely armor is used, so people most likely died in it before you toss it to your own. You got padded, you got shields, which give you a +2, leather, studded leather, carbon vest, mesh armor, chainmail, branded mail, half plate, and full plate. So you can go all the way up to a +7 with full plate armor. But it costs you 1,200 GP.
Yeah, it's really fucking expensive. Like, it's really crazy expensive.
Considering padded costs 5 GP, if I was good at math, I would tell you the multiplier on that, but I'm not, so fuck it. But remember, base AC is 9, so you add from there. So padded gets you to 10, and full plate gets you to 18. So without any exotic shit added, the highest AC you can really have in the game, unless I'm dumb and I'm reading something completely wrong, is 18 with just plain armor.
Sounds about right.
So, and then we got guns, which in this game I can't really say anything about guns.
No, it fits really well here.
Yeah. Do you want to do guns?
Friggin' yeah. I actually didn't go through guns when I first read this, so I don't know why. I went through fucking swords and armor.
Skip the guns. Oh, you add your prowess. That's right. You add your prowess.
I was really focused in on fucking spellcasting.
Yeah. I can just do guns.
Yeah, go for it. Because I was really honestly, I was like, after reading the War Wizard, I was like, oh fuck, I really have to go read all the spellcasting now. And I read all of it. And I read every spell for every class because I was like, what does this all look like? And it was pretty good.
I did not do all of that. I skimmed the spells because you are spell boy. Yeah. There's only one rule in the Wasteland. After the first 2 other rules in the Wasteland, don't be the one who ends up dead by any means. That means the baddest mofo. Be the baddest mofo and pack the coldest hardware. Critical hits and firearms. Due to the lethality of guns and other firearms, they do not have a corresponding to the max chart, which I like. For critical hits, instead of 20 is always a headshot that deals double damage. Easy peasy. A roll of a 1 is still a fumble and requires a roll on the firearms total bomber table, which is below. It's a D10. Ignore for classes with firearms specific to the max tables, but they will still roll on the firearms total bomber table, etc. So why don't you roll me a D10 for a firearms total bomber?
I roll. Jesus Christ! Click. I rolled a 5.
Dope. So near miss, you roll to hit a random target.
Just fucking shoot your buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Even shooting in a melee is an interesting thing. Don't forget, each phase has additional sweet moves you can do. This goes for any class. All this info can be found in the tonal carded section, which we will get to. So there's a bunch of firearms here. You got blaster rifles, death vipers, filthy heralds, Mac Daddies, Mega Blaster, good old Stubby, plasma flintlock pistol, the sleazy blaster. I'm gonna read the Mac Daddy and the old Stubby. Those are good ones.
The
Mac
Stubby.
Daddy, yeah, the Mac Daddy is the preferred weapon of drug lords and third-rate hitmen. It spits out 3 rounds per attack, and the recoil when you roll to hit, the first round has 0 penalties, the second round gets a -2, and the third gets a -3. And then the old Stubby. When you need to blast some punk scum in the chest at close range, except no substitutes. A sawed-off shotgun that you can use in melee range. That's what my Bruticorn is rocking. Shoddy, and then I got an old Stubby.
I like the sleazy blaster. And it fucking literally fucking adds +2 sleaze to your target score when you hit them. You know, just this the fucking vile damage. You know.
Nah, dude, what if you just shot your homies, because you can, and you're just like firing sleaze into your buddies, like, you know? And the Hollywood ammo rule. We talked about this a little bit during the interview. The rule of cool in full effect. Guns in Hollywoods never run out of bullets, so why should you? Every gun is assumed to have ample ammo. The round capacity is used to track when an action reload is necessary. That's it. And then there's some nades. Yeah, flashbangs, frags, and smokes. There is things to do with your nades. Shock and awe. You throw a nade as a free action, but you ain't got time to aim that sucker. It suffers from the scatter keyword, which is on the next page. And you got frag 'em. Spend a class ability point to throw the nade as a free action with no scatter. See what a little bit of aim can do. So scatter is when a weapon or thrown has a scatter keyword. Roll on the scatter table to determine where the round or item thrown lands. Why don't you roll me a d4?
D4.
Oh,
I rolled a 2, so I got...
roll the second one.
And then a 1.
So random target is hit.
Sick.
But I love 3 and 3. If you roll 3-3, re-roll for distance. Roll 1d10 times 5 feet. Man, that's why would you re-roll on the 3-3? You don't want to drop it right at your feet. And then there is Bixby's one-stop shop. These one-stop shops are everywhere. We were talking about this is like their friggin' 7-Eleven.
Bixby's one-stop death shop.
Oh, death shop. Look at that. How did I miss the death? There's a lot, and it even comes with a loyalty card. So they are filled to the brim with all the accoutrements every red-blooded adventurer wants, from a glug chug flavor to the weapons of carnage. So there is items for sale. By no means is this an exhaustive list. Crack open any BX book and find more. And then there's the fantastical items under the counter. There's a 25% chance that any Bixby's will have a fantastical item for sale. If the roll is 5% or under, the shop is packing 2 fantastical items. Yeah, the Neon Lord determines this. What is in fact for sale. And what are they selling? What are they buying? Any Bixby's will buy items, weapons, or armor, or anything of interest, really, but not at a high price. Offer 50% of the value. Take it or leave it. Makes sense. And then there is a loyalty card. Make sure to grab a loyalty card at the participating Bixby's location. Buy 10 items and get a free high-octane freedom potion. Some restrictions apply. That's dope. I would print the sucker out and hand it to my players.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be 100. A really cool one to, Yeah.
We are not going to go through this because you know my absolute love of giant list of things with prices.
There is a giant list of items, though. People are looking for stuff. There's a lot of stuff, and a lot that's really funny. Yeah. I encourage everyone listening to buy the book.
Yeah. Extreme nacho flavored Mega Fizz 2-liter, Mega Pump Kicks, Lactoplasm. Lactoplasm. Yeah. And then it gives a breakdown of all the stuff. I want to know synthetic milk's beige blue color can be off-putting of the lactoplasm, but it gets the job done, and it grants you an additional +5.
Our blue milk,
Got to. This is disgusting. We're gonna skip through that. Oh, shades. Attitude is everything in the esoterics. How you accessorize is vital. What better way to show that off than with some sick shades? You got the Hasta La Vistas, which you obviously know what those are going to look like. Some mirror shade.
I have no idea what that's a reference to, honestly.
Oh, no. Whammy Burger promotional shades. The Morpheus shades. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Spoiler alert on the loyalty card. Let me roll back up. This is what Brian just said. I thought I looked at it. I'd buy that for $1. Bixby Snyder. Is that supposed to be like D Snyder? Where is some restrictions apply? See store for details. Buy 10 items. Get a high octane freedom potion.
He's saying that there's going to be a printed out loyalty card.
Oh fuck yeah! Well. Got to. I bet you it's in the Neon Lords pack for the eyes only. You know what I'm saying? For the Carnage Edition. Hell yeah. Bros for hire. Fuck off. I'm tired.
Bros for hire.
When the help
get yourself
fires
a nice meat shield. You can give some guy two gold pieces and he'll just be your fucking meat shield, you know?
Yeah. Do you want to go over Bros for Hire, dude?
Yeah,
Bro?
absolutely. Bros for Hire,
Bro?
like this is your hireling section. You know, you can have you know, you have several different levels, right? For basic bros, you have basic bros and you have skilled bros, right? So for your basic bros, you have your meat shield, your lackey, your goon, and your scroll jockey. So the scroll jockey, I think, is the caster one. For skilled bros, we have the archer, the glam lord, does hair, mage, pickpocket, potion master, spaz, and spaz with a shotgun. And I like spaz and spaz with a shotgun. The daily cost and monthly cost are crack and more crack. Meat shield is fucking a nameless fucking meat shield. He holds torches and he pokes stuff with a stick. He's a human mule. He's got 1 HP, 9 AC, 16 for all saves, and equipped with a 10-foot pole, and can carry 5 slots worth of stuff. Pro tip: life is cheap in Neon Waste. Bring a few bros along for a wild ride.
There you go.
Yeah, a meat shield is you for the human meat shield. You can attempt to grab any meat shield as a combat action taken during the melee phase of combat and use them as a literal meat shield. On a failed agility saving throw, the meat shield is held against their will and absorbs up to 5 damage. After that, the body is Swiss cheese and no longer able to sustain any more trauma. Any NPC can be used as a literal human shield. Just throwing it out there. Fairly dark. Lackey's a little more versatile, right? They have a 1 HP, 9 AC, but they start with a random weapon, 1d6 weapon. They'll actually fight alongside the party, unlike the meat shield. A goon's a thug. They're a little bit more hardy in the fact that they have, you know, they have a brass knuckles that is 1 damage. They actually have 4 HP instead of just none. But they have an AC of 11. And a scroll jockey is a person, you know, kind of failed to become a war wizard and still wants that ancient knowledge. They hold a war wizard spellbook, keeping them hands free while casting. In addition, the spell. I skipped a part. Desperate for a small slice of the arcane, scroll jockeys are the war wizard's best friend. They hold the war wizard spellbook so that the war wizard is hands free while casting a spell. In addition, if the spell miscast, the scroll jockey will take any damage dealt by the misfire, leaving the war wizard unscathed. They have 1d4 plus 1 HP, AC 11, and all saves of 16. And they wield no weapon. They pretty much just they're essentially the meat shield for the war wizard, because they'll take that any like miscast damage. Fucking absolutely hilarious. Everyone needs a meat shield, even the war wizard. After that, excuse me, we have the archer, which guess what? They're an archer. The glam lord, master of hairstyles, a secret mythical art only handed down from master to apprentice. We have the mage, does not adventure, stays in towns, but you know, a master of arcane and mystical knowledge. You have the pickpocket, guess what they do? The potion master, the spaz, which is a battle crazed druggie edited to crack, has no drive to adventure on their own, but will kill for a fix. 60% chance that they are wanted by a crime syndicate or bookie. And then a spaz with a shotgun, which is a spaz
with a shotgun.
With a shotgun. Yeah, absolutely. Fucking very funny. Yeah, then we have NPC slash bros for higher reaction. Even if they're getting paid, you know, that doesn't mean that they're like totally fucking brain dead and then will wander into anything at any point in time. They have minds of their own. That doesn't mean the player can't try to use their influence on the hired help to convince them otherwise. Below is the reaction chart that Neon Lord can roll to determine if the hireling is willing to do whatever horrid bullshit the PC asks them to do. When a roll is needed, add the PC's attitude modifier to any additional modifier that may reasonably affect the roll. Sleaze mod added if necessary, right? So if you got high attitude and you have any other reason to add to the roll, you can add to it. Going from 1 to 10, 1 being a mutiny, all bros for hire attack the party, all, to 10 being all in, suicidal even. You can fucking get them to like, hey, we need you to make a human bridge. It's like, yeah. Very cool. Going from there, we have Candyman, which is going to be your drug dealer. Pushes drugs, and the hireling requires a positive roll on the reaction chart. Once you got him, if you manage to get a hireling hooked, you gain 10 sleaze right off the bat. Because getting somebody hooked on drugs is essentially the sleaziest thing that you could possibly do. Every time you give them their fix, you gain an additional 1d4 sleaze. At that point, they'll do whatever you want, no questions asked. Kind of fucked up. Kind of super fucking dark.
Yeah, Candyman is kind of super fucked.
Yeah, kind of super fucked. The party's rep, a band of humanoids going around bashing in the brains of mutants, monsters that come in between their loot, is able to live to tell a story, will surely gain like a rep, right? Adding sacrificial lambs to the slaughter doesn't look good to potential hired meat shields. The party rep table helps determine where the party stands kind of in the eyes of the hirelings of Neoterix. And believe me when I say that bad news travels fast around here. Every time a bro dies on an adventure, the party gets a -1 to their rep. And every time a bro comes back alive, missing an arm or a leg, missing an arm or leg is fine. The party gains 1 rep. So at -3, everyone thinks you're a fucking serial killer. They straight up might backstab you. At a +3, bros vie for the chance to accompany you on your illustrious party and share in the riches. Mercenaries, scum for hire, the unsavory types. They'll pretty much do anything for the right amount of money, from ex-adventurer to like actual bounty hunter. Each sector has a plethora of scum, human and xeno alike, willing to take your hard-earned gold. Mercenary creation chart. This is a little chart for that the Neon Lord will roll on to create the mercenary. Let's see. You want to roll for me on the 1d20?
Absolutely. 8.
So we have a mutant rolling the mega mutation table.
Mega mutation.
What page is that on?
Control F. Mega. Oh, gotta go back to the right one. Let's go to next. Here we go. So the mega, because it's minor, major, then mega, and then I'll roll another d20. Ooh, 18. So I got Bark at the Moon. You begin to rapidly de-age as your body grows black fur, sharp teeth, and claws. You've transformed into a werewolf teenager. I'm a teen wolf.
So we have a werewolf teenager. We're gonna roll for their demeanor, which I just rolled past it. I'll roll for this one. It's a 12. They're the strong silent type. And you want to roll one more 20 to see what abilities or / what they're packing?
I got a 7.
7, immune to being frightened, 1d10 HP. So we have a pretty hardy, strong but silent werewolf boy. So there's mercenary pricing, quick stats, and how to deal with XP. But yeah, they're there's a lot of options for hiring, and I do love hirelings. I like that's a rule. I like to have that. And now we're on to my section on page 70 for spellcasting. Give me just 1 second, because there's a cat crying, and I'm gonna open the door so he stops crying.
Ew, gross. Spellcasting. Chaos reigns supreme.
So spellcasting is pretty cool. So basically, you're in this game when you're spellcasting, you're manipulating. I'm blurry again. Why does that keep happening? The forces of chaos, right? So for your spell pool gathering, every day at the beginning of the day, you will roll your spell pool to see how many spells you have to cast a day. So War Wizard start is got 4d6 plus level plus brains ability modifier. When you roll for your spell pool, you're rolling d6s, obviously. 4 and above is a hit. Anything else is a miss. So if you roll a 4, that's 1 cast a day, right? So if I roll 5 dice and I roll, actually, I think it has a good example. Someone ends up rolling 76s. They roll a 1, 3, 5, 6, 4, 4, 6. Gives a total of 5 spells to cast a day because 5 of those dice were above 4 and above. Very easy way to figure out daily casts. And it just isn't easy and kind of just makes sense. I just blanked out there for a second. Yeah. So moving forward, chaotic corruption, the innate ability to harness power of chaos through non-magical means takes a toll on the star spawn. This is a star spawn specifically, which we didn't go over, but it's kind of like a psychic space monk-ish thing. I kind of just went over it real quickly. But yeah, when gathering their dice pool, if any doubles are rolled, one of the doubles is ignored and lost. Yeah, you just if you roll doubles, you're just fucking out on that. Casting a spell, War Wizard must not be engaged in melee combat or with an enemy and have nothing in his hands except a wand or a staff. In addition, the War Wizard must be able to speak freely and not be bound in any way. The Holy Smiter and Starspawn also must not be engaged in melee combat with an enemy. However, they can cast spells while wielding a weapon, just as long as they have one hand free. Holy Smiters must be able to speak freely as well, but Starspawns, because they're it's psychic magic, can manifest without talking because they're using their mind magic.
The old noggin.
The old noggin. Spell check. Spells that are considered non-combat, meaning they don't have a target to attack, or they rely on a target saving roll. So if there's no save and there's no target throw, to determine the spell is successful or fail, you roll 1d20. If the outcome is lower than the spell check, the spell fizzles out and fails. Note that some spells have a negative effect if they fail. If the result is tied or higher, the spell is a success. In addition, the caster can spend the class ability points to alter the spell check. Like all the classes, if the caster dropped below 5, then shit happens. Spell misfire, if it goes horribly awry, like a 1 is rolled in d20, essentially, you're going to roll on the misfire table. Will you roll a d20 for me and we'll do a misfire? I'm going to roll 1 too, just in case.
I got 5.
Well, 5. Radioactive backfire, roll on the minor mutation chart, which is way further down. Don't worry about it right now. But you get a fucking you just get a minor mutation, I rolled an 18 major meltdown. You roll twice on the minor mutation chart.
Muties.
Yeah, so 20 is pretty great. Mind wipe, the caster forgets the spell permanently. Like, awesome. And then 1 is the catastrophic failure. So if you roll 1 to get here and then you roll another 1, the caster drops to 1 HP and casts a spell at random, hitting a random target. Which brutal.
Sucks. Yeah, you're dead. You're dead at that point.
Yeah. Moving on to War Wizard spells, which we won't go over a bunch, but there are a couple. There are so many that were really good that we'll probably pick out a couple. So one thing I really liked about spells in this game is that there are like multiple iterations of certain spells. Like there is Magic Missile, and there's Magic Missile 2 and 3, but they're not just Magic Missile. Like in the Dragon game, when you gain level, your Magic Missile just gets better. On this one, it goes from Magic Missile to Blazing Laser to Star Blazer, and they become a more like off the wall, explosive, very cool spell. But what we can do for the time being, we can go and look at which ones do I want to look at. I really like the high level ones. I always go to the highest level first because I want to know what the high level caster looks like. There are a lot of really good traditional spells on here: sleep, shield, cool stuff like rust, that rust weapons. But when you start getting to the higher level, you start getting like really weird ones, and very, very cool ones. I really want to find Through the Eyes of the Dead. I thought was a really cool one. Grants the War Wizard the ability to see past events, the past of a creature that is dead. The War Wizard can see its last moments on Neoterix and determine how it died. Transmogrify. With a flick of a wrist, the War Wizard turns a target they can see into a chicken. Yeah, nice. You know, fucking fantastic. I had so many picked out earlier, and I'm just like, now I'm like, oh man, they're all really cool. There is like the next step of Transmogrify, which is like change self. God, there are so many spells. Like, there's so many like options of what to do. If we look at page 81, at the very bottom, Alter Death, which is actually probably my favorite War Wizard spell. When a creature around you, any hits 0 health as a totally free action, the War Wizard can just cast Alter Death, and it essentially gives that, whatever that is, it raises him more or less, and they gain like an additional 1d4 temporary hit points that they can lose without totally dying. And they enter a state of undeath where they can only be healed by magical means. So yeah, you can fucking bring your buddy back as your fucking zombie servant.
That's what's up.
You know, yeah, I was like, oh, it's fucking hilarious. Like your one player character dies, like, no, you come back and you're my zombie buddy now. You know, and then once they get below that temporary HP, they actually become like just mindless zombie that you're gonna have to kind of put down. I really fucking love that. I like that because it gives a lot of like it gives a lot of narrative space to have something, just a dumb adventure with your buddy. It's like, nah, man, you're not fucking dying. Let's see. Another one was, Cubify is really good one. It's a level 6 one. When the spell is cast, whatever inanimate object the War Wizard is touching instantly just turns into a cube of random meat. Yeah, so it can be a whammy burger, promotional season burger, a fucking green goblin meat, infected zombie cubes. Looks a bit humanoid. War Wizard's got final form, where it's essentially not quite transmogrify yourself, but you're transforming yourself. And until the next time the War Wizard casts another spell, they can transform into any living creature they wish. So it's almost like polymorph or self polymorph, where you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna become like a fucking absolute monster. Yeah. And there's a bunch of other ones that are really good. All Hail the Meat Titan. You like summon a fucking flame broiled patty meat Titan to fight for you. Yeah, astral projection. The nothing, the way you create a fucking just hole of nothingness that's 10 feet wide, just below something. There's a lot of fun to be had with the magic in this. And I'm kind of just cruising through and naming some, but like they all kind of hit, across the board. You get to the point later on where you're like summoning hell lords and shit. But yeah, after that we have Psychic Manifestations, which is the Star Spawn's psychic ability. And they are all very much within that kind of like psychic mind magic realm. And once again, a lot of fun to be had. A lot of stuff that you'd expect. Charm, clairvoyance, levitate object, scry, time manipulation. There's a lot of misanthropy. The star spawn can alter a target's perception, cause them to gain a temporary hatred for all humanoids. The target gains an additional +2 to their attack when they are targeting a creature that is humanoid. Just misanthropy. They just fucking hate all living things, I think that I would actually really enjoy playing Wizard in this game, and I'm the biggest critique of Wizards everywhere. Moving on from Psychic Manifestations, you have Hacking 101. So hacking works a lot like spellcasting, more or less. I believe the hacking class is the Skull Jammer. So the what the heck are computer waves? They're invisible waves They're found all over Neoterix that have the ability to send information from a Skulljammer's deck to other technology. Whether they come from or where they come from and how they work is a mystery. But the Skulljammer possesses the ability to surf these waves and exploit them using the hacks. Hacking 101. The Skulljammer must expend a point of hack to cast a hack. The Skulljammer rolls 1d20. If the result is equal to or greater than the hack check, the hack is a success. If the hack check is rolled at a 20, roll is a 20, a roll on the hacking to the max table is needed. If one of the hack checks is rolled, is a or if one's rolled, it's a fumble, and you have to roll on the hacking total. Bummer. I'm obviously very sleepy, but yeah. So you have a lot. I mean, they're just like, like the War Wizard had the demonic wizard magic. The Psychic had psychic brain magic. This is very much like, hacking, active camouflage, hollow casting, fear cast. Hacking the computer wave can alter brain waves, causing a target to think the Skulljammer is something that to fear. Very cool. You can't affect creatures with this and technology. But hacking is essentially another form of spell casting. Cool. Hell yeah, Ryan. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
You are cruising, son.
What's up? Yeah, and the final one, by the gods, is the spellcasting of the Holy Smiter. They call on their god to give them magic. Much like physical attacks, the prayer can fumble. So there's a fumble table for this one as well. When you roll a 1 on the prayer check, you got to roll D10 on the fumble. And they're pretty funny. Backlash from your god. Your god just doesn't fucking answer today. Nothing happens. Loss of devotion, you gain 3 sleaze. Because remember, for Smiters, they don't want sleaze. The more sleaze they have, they can become a fallen Smiter, and then they don't get their god just kind of totally ignores them. And honestly, I just want to look at one spell from this, and it is going to be the Cosmic Tag Team, which is a where's Cosmic Tag Team? Sorry, I was trying to find it before I said what level it was. It's one of the last ones that you can get because it's 2 spells together. So I think it's 5th level. Where's Cosmic Tag? Yeah, it is a 5th level prayer, not spell, prayer, because they're prayers. But Cosmic Tag Team, Lord Randy and the Lord of the Dead. So fucking Randy Savage and the Undertaker join forces to deal a smackdown that echoes through space and time. The Holy Smiter casts the Cosmic Aura. And that was fucking Hulk. But and so you cast Cosmic Aura and Off the Top Ropes at the same time. Off the Top Ropes summons Lord Randy to bring down his holy elbow. It does 1d damage and 1d10 damage and knocks out your opponent. And then Cosmic Aura is a gift from an unknown god, which shares a mutual goal of destruction. The Holy Smiter is imbued with +5 attack and +5 to damage to any Xeno or chaotic threat. In addition, the Holy Smiter is gifted with the ability to see threats through walls and over distances. So you can see through walls and distance, you get +5 to hit, +5 to damage, and that whatever the target is gets a fucking elbow, 1d10 damage, and is knocked out for a little bit. So you just become like a fucking absolute agent of holy energy and the fucking, the Lord Randy power. Yeah, it's fucking absolutely fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I really enjoyed reading through the magic. We were really cruising, but I read it way more in depth. And I enjoyed everything I read. It was all very cool. There's utility, cast for every class. And then there's the really over the top, dynamic damage ones. Yeah. So one of my more favorite magic, lists. Lord Randy hits them with the elbow, high fives you tags you in to kick some ass. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magic's really cool. Like I fucking.
think across the board, the War Wizard, the hacking stuff, and the cleric stuff makes magic feel fucking awesome, whichever way that you want to do it. Yeah. I mean, Chokeslam is pretty dope too.
Yeah.
Aura of Death, Feast and Famine, Torment Ender. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they also have really cool names, you know?
Yeah.
And I do love that there's like this tie-in, it's like wrestling thing. So there is like this continuous, especially with the Smiter. Like that is like you are worshiping like Lord Randy, right? Like it's pretty good. Like Aura of the Savage One, you know, from the Cosmic Throne of Eternity sits Lord Randy, the Savage One, holder of the Heavyweight Championship belt. He grants the Holy Smiter an additional +5 to their strength. The aura takes form of a celestial tie-dye bandana and the biggest pair of 6 shades that adds an additional +2 to the Holy Smiter's damage. Yeah, the aura can be cast as a bonus action. It's like, what the fuck? That's fucking hilarious. Very cool. I actually had and I wasn't really big into pro wrestling when I was younger, but it's funny because I now hang out with like a ton of people who are, and I've been watching stuff with them now. And so I actually appreciate this more than I would have even like 3 or 4 months ago.
Interesting. Yeah. Once again, I had a Hulk Hogan sleeping bag. So
yeah, I know it was kind of your thing. It was less my thing.
Old school. I mean, when I was young, like when it was the WWF, I think post WWE is when I probably the World Wildlife Federation came in with their goddamn panda and fucked it all up.
Hell yeah, sure.
You didn't. So did you know that they're the WWE because the World Wildlife Federation sued the WWF for using their initials?
I did not fucking know that.
That's why they became worldwide Worldwide Entertainment or whatever. Yeah, instead of World Wrestling or the World Wrestling whatever. They switched from the World Wrestling Federation because the World Wildlife Federation came in and sued them.
That's actually fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Next we're moving into the most excellent of adventures. So this is a lot of like little rules for basically like all the rest of the stuff we know. So it talks about time, which basically turns are in 10 minutes. And you can basically search like a 10 by 10 foot area in that kind of time, basically, which is a lot of games are using that, and I really like it. Movement is the amount you can move in a single turn. Everyone gets one. Brutigorn had 40 feet. You got resting, which is short rest and long rest. On short rest, you can conduct a quick stop to catch your breath, take a swig of Glug Chug, and bandage yourself up. You restore 1 HP and 1 ability class point on short rests. But resting for any longer can cause a monster to sneak up on you, and long resting can only be conducted in a safe place. So you can't long rest in dungeons or anything. Towns are preferable. But they can be conducted in the wilderness if you build a fire and have a roving guard on duty at all times. And a long rest restores a single hit dice of lost hit points and 1d6 lost ability points. In addition, caster spell pools are gathered, and any effects that begin or end with a long rest will be reset. So resting is not like super helpful. I mean, obviously, like you're gonna get stuff back, but like 1 hit die of damage for a long rest means you really need to take the time to go somewhere and take a decent chunk of time in a town and rest if you actually want to get back up to health to full every time. So repeated combats you're fucking dead, pretty much. Yeah. Minimal skill checks. I love that this is thrown in, especially on like a BX thing, because maybe I just haven't read enough of them, but I know a lot of the newer like NSR, OSR stuff is like, don't fucking roll for every goddamn thing. Like if you can explain it away, just let people explain it. So just do that. And don't forget skills are a roll under d20s. Talks about light and darkness. Basically, no humanoid races have the ability to see in the dark, but a lot of monsters do. And some mutants do, and the War Wizard has some abilities, but that's it. But there's a bunch of monster abilities that let monsters see. So, and some of them are funny. Infravision. It lets creatures see in darkness. It's basically like the fucking Predator. Smell-o-vision,
bro.
Yeah, it lets you. The ranker something is, the brighter it is. So rotten pizza covered in gym socks is yellow, but a pleasant smelling beer wench is dark blue or purple. And then meat vision is a combination of infravision and smell-o-vision, so that the creature can only see objects comprised of meat up to 120 feet away. Everything looks gray and dull, but meat radiates a bright, tasty red color. And then true sight, you pretty much see fucking everything. And ways for you to see in the dark, you don't. Nothing. You get a -2 to everything. You got torches that all last 1d4 hours. With a 30-foot radius. You got lanterns that emit a 20-foot radius for 10 hours. And then you got the Starbright brand Chem Stick, basically a fucking
Yeah.
I can't remember what that stuff's called. What? A glow stick. Because it glows. They can be thrown and would continue to stay lit even when submerged in water. It's a 10-foot radius for 8 hours. Characters using a light source cannot successfully surprise a creature, obviously, and attacking in darkness imposes a -4 penalty. Doors. We got a bunch of doors here, and there's breaking down doors. I'm just going to jump to that real quick. Sometimes it needs to be smashed. So actually, a bunch of the classes, I think all that can, basically, they have burliness modifiers for breaking down doors, but my boy, the Bruticorn, can kick down any door. Doors can be unlocked by non-magical means. Anyone can try to pick a lock if they want, with a 1 in 6 chance. If they fail, the lockpick is broken and the mechanism is damaged. Magically locked doors are a thing. Hacking electronically locked doors is something you can do. Secret doors you can find. It means that there's an old door behind the bookcase routine. Characters can detect secret rolls on a 1 on 1d6. I like it's that easy. It's just its own check. Easy peasy.
Yeah, and it's not like it's an additional, like it's a different kind of check, but it's so simple that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, totally,
So easy.
Roll d6.
Yeah, that's it. Swoosh doors. We talked about that during the interview.
Swoosh doors.
They're called swoosh doors because that's the noise they made.
You know exactly what they are. You're like, oh, okay, yeah.
I don't care if you walked down the street right now and said swoosh doors. In their mind, people are gonna go swoosh. Like, unquestionably. The doors can be hacked. It's usually a keycard door. Basically, it's a fancy mechanical door.
Yeah, we've seen Star Trek.
Yeah, everyone's seen it. Hear noises. Any class can stop and listen, and they get a 2 in 6 chance of deciphering vital information. There's traps and how to spot them. So normal characters get a 40%, Night Stalkers get a 50%, and Dwarflings get a 60% chance. You can try to disarm traps, but that can go wrong for you. If a trap goes snap, you are caught in it. Experience points is the way that you level up, and when the adventure is over and you're safe in the confines of a town, you can deal those out. Experience points are given out for dispatching bad guys, by slaying them, and gold is also, and treasure are also worth XP. So 1 XP per token. We'll get to tokens in a second because they look like fucking Chuck E. Cheese tokens. That's why the gold is sometimes called tokens. You got XP for slaying monsters. And then the pool, I love this, this cracks me up. It's a pool of XP at the end that can be doled out any way you want. But it says at the bottom, if the process goes long and turns into a bitching session, the Nia Lorne is granted the ability to either hand out all the XP or none of the XP, so be civil. So you can give some people more or less if you want, or split it evenly however you want, but don't be a little bitch about it.
Punish them.
Yeah. I like the carrying slots and encumbrance. Like, you don't get a shitload of shit, basically. Yeah. Like, rucksacks and things like that can change. But to start off, any of the big melee classes only get 2 slots because they got heavy armor and heavy weapons and all that other crap. They can't carry as much. So Bruticorns, Cosmic Barbarians, they all get like 2. War Wizard starts with 6 slots because they use pocket dimensions and stuff all over themselves to do that. And Night Stalkers only get 1 because they're sneaky boys. And they need to be sneaky sneaks. And yeah, that is that section. The total carnage. So I'm not gonna read all this, but it is a single, like, spaced half-page read through of an entire round of combat. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate this being.
Yeah, I really did appreciate this. It makes, we love these examples, but it's cool to go like through a whole fucking, okay, cool. So
yeah, examples of play are super important. But we still get a number 1 through 9 breakdown of the phases in combat, and I think the phases are really interesting.
Yeah. I've seen phased combat like this, and I've never played a single game that hasn't. So
I think so we'll talk about this after, but prior to, I think one of the things that slogs 5e is that everyone like has to figure out what the fuck they want to do, and it's their whole turn that they have to like piece together, right? But when you go by phases and separate it all into different sections, you can be like, okay, well, sure, I'll move this time. Sure, I have a melee weapon. Sure, I have this. It really helps you focus in on the things you can do at each time and not have to worry about your whole turn necessarily at once. And I think it would actually speed things up a lot better. So that's basically what we're talking about is combat right now. So talking about time in combat, it's broken into phases make turns and turns make rounds. A phase is a specific type of action as you go through. A turn is based solely on a specific character. So you'll get to do things in multiple phases for your whole turn. And then a round is when everyone has gone through. So basically how it is resolved, first, each side resolves their actions, blah, blah, blah. Check if either side is surprised. So the Neon Lord rolls 1d6. The Neon Lord rolls 1d6 for each side. If the roll results in a 1 or 2, that side is surprised. If not, there's no one surprised, and ties are no surprise either. So check if either side is surprised. You got it. Number 2, each side rolls initiative. All right, so in initiative, each side rolls 1d6. The Neon Lord rolls for the bad guys. The highest roll wins. Ties are re-rolled. So that's every round you're re-rolling initiative. Highest initiative side goes first. That's number 3. Number 4 is condition check phase. So some condition, spell, or other effects go from round to round. The saves are rolled and damage is dealt during this phase. So we're already on number 4, and that's all we've done is roll a bunch of checks and check your conditions. All right.
Yeah.
Number 5, you get to the movement phase. So this is when people get to move. Movement happens first in the order of combat. A player can move up to their max speed and feet per round, but may choose to move less, but you can't break it up. All movement happens in this. For all combatants, all movement happens in this phase. And as an action, a player can utilize these combat movements. If combat movement is used rather than normal movement, the character forfeits any other action until the next turn. And you can do things like watch this, bro, where a PC can throw a dagger-sized weapon while making their movement, but it's made with a -2 penalty to hit and a -1 to damage. You can beat feet, which is basically sprinting, so you can move double speed. But you suffer from their opponents getting +1 bonus to hit them for the entire round. And then running with spells, cast a spell hastily in the movement phase. If failed, the target is chosen at random. So don't miss. So then after
really good advice.
Yeah. After the movement phase, number 6 is the missile attack phase. Not spells, missile attack phase. So when you get to the missile attack phase, arrows, rocks, bullets, lasers, other projectiles get to go. The attacker rolls 1d20 plus a prowess modifier and adds any situational modifiers, comparing the final against their AC. But if you shoot into melee, the weapon, you absolutely positively must fire into melee combat. The combatant hit by the projectile is determined randomly. If an ally is within 5 feet of an enemy, it's considered melee. So if you're shooting into your buddy and a bad guy that are within 5 feet of each other, the target is randomly chosen.
Makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
they're right next to each other.
Yeah. We already talked about critical hits on firearms and stuff like that. There's a firearm total bomber table is here again. Additional missile combats, you can aim or get on the ground, which is cool. So basically when you aim, you can spend your entire action choosing to aim at your target, and on your next turn you get a +2 to hit. In addition, aiming reduces the risk of firing into melee, as a character counts enemies twice when randomly choosing the target. And then get on the ground means you choose to lay prone and basically like line up your shot like a sniper. Yeah. So you get a +4 to hit. Other normal modifiers apply, and you also get a -4 AC penalty while you're on the ground, and longbows can't be shot while you're in this position. So that is the missile phase. That's number 6 out of 9. Then you go to the spell phase. So all spells happen in the spell phase.
We love a spell phase.
Got to. So spells in combat follow the same rules as above, but you have a thing called, you can do ritual casting.
Right, you can ritual cast and get a little bonus to hit, essentially, by like focusing on casting a spell. It's essentially aiming.
It's aiming, but for spellcasters. Exactly. Yeah. So all of the spells happen then. And then you move on to the melee attack phase, and that's broken into 8A and 8B. Single-handed weapons go before two-handed weapons. So any two-handed weapon, melee weapon you have, you're literally the last to fucking go.
Yeah.
So, and we T20 hit, all that kind of stuff. So additional melee attack actions, though, you can go all in, and this is basically kind of like a furious attack. Where you get to, you have to declare it beforehand for the beginning of combat. So with complete disregard to your own safety, you can get a +4 to hit, hoping to kill your enemy first. On a successful hit, you also add 1d4 damage, but the attack leaves you vulnerable to attacks with a -4 penalty to your AC on the next one. You can dodge, dip, duck, and dive. Another great reference. Basically, you don't do anything that round, but you get a +2 to your AC. I got your 6, which basically allows, if you're holding a shield, to shield your ally for a +2. With Rage, any class can expend all of their fortune points to add an additional 1d6 to an attack and damage roll. Shield deflect. If a PC is wielding a shield, you can choose to absorb 2 damage and break the shield. You can grit your teeth, which is take a breath and embrace the pain as an action. Any class can spend an ability point to regain 1 HP for a max of 4. Or coup de grace, which means any unconscious prone creature can just be instantly murdered, because that's how it should be in everything.
Yeah, it's how it should fucking work. Why would it not work like that? Sorry, I'm not mad at this game.
Because the dagger is D4 and they have 30 hit points, so it doesn't matter.
If I slit their throat, I slit their fucking throat. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
They can be the toughest son of the bitch in the world.
Seriously, like when they're bleeding, you know? And then number 9.
Every game should work like that. I don't care what style your game is, whether it be wild over the top or very grounded realistic. If I stab a person who's on the ground and like, they're dead.
Unconscious and prone, yeah, they're dead.
Yeah.
They're dead. And then number 9, each side has resolved all movements and actions. The round is over, and the process restarts at step 2, because why would you check surprise every round? You just try to shoot them. They're not surprised by you. So that's it. I actually really like this idea because, like I said, the players don't have to decide their entire turn in one combat to piece shit together. You can break it into pieces and really just decide, are you doing this or not? That's it. Are you moving or not? Nope. Then shut the fuck up. Like, do you have missiles? Then you don't go this time. Do you have spells? Then you don't go right now. Oh, we're in melee. So now all the melee people get to go. And then you go. I really like this, and I would, if I ever played the Dragon game again, first of all, I would never play it as is. I would always play a hack. I'd probably rather play OSC anyway, but I really love this idea of phased combat. It
reminds me, there's a lot of war games that do combat like this, where it's like these people go, they like this goes, to kind of filter out all of the, like, to filter it all out, essentially. And like, it's funny because the first couple times that you do it, I feel like it's like it will be complicated, but after that it's just like, you know, you kind of know who's going when, you know?
Yeah, I would almost want to have like especially early on, like a visual reference, almost like 9 cards, and I would just flip one over like in the middle of everyone and just be like, all right, condition check, all right, movement phase, and then just flip them back over and do it again. But I mean, as you just said, this is modded off of BX, which was originally modded off of War Games, so it makes sense that that's kind of the way it goes. Yeah. So I really, really like this. I enjoy it, and if this is how all BX goes, I would definitely want to play BX instead of the current Dragon game. Moving on to crits, damage, dying. We talked about crits a bunch. There's some optional rules and stuff here. Fleeing, I like the fleeing and fighting section though. Cowards flee while brave warriors stay. If the deck is stacked against you and you think it's a no-win situation, you may retreat. Of course, this comes at the cost. You gain +5 to your sleaze and -5 to your attitude if you flee combat.
Fucking coward. Stay here and fight till you die.
Oh, fucking bitch boy. Yeah, damage and dying. If you do damage, they're damaged, and if you die, you die. Not really a reason to dig through that too much.
And Brian said that the phases of combat are on the back of the new character sheet, which I think is that's the perfect place.
Perfect. Exactly where it should be. Yeah.
Couldn't be any easier.
I mean, that's so smart. Like Mothership does that kind of stuff where like everything you need is literally like a table right on the sheet in front of you, how to do everything. So it's a great way to do it. So that's a great idea. And then rolling over a body is an optional rule. If a PC reaches 0 HP, rather than rolling a death saving throw, they can leave it up to their homeboys, basically. When you're dead, you can wait till the end of combat. You lay there unconscious, hope to not get coup de grace. And afterwards, your buddy can come over and roll a d4. Why don't you roll a d4 for me?
I will roll a d. Where my dice roller? There it is.
I wouldn't do this. I would rather death save than let someone fucking do this to me.
God.
Did you roll one?
I rolled a 1.
Yeah, you're fucking very dead, son. So very dead. Number 2 is you're alive but brain damage. Your brain ability score is dropped to 1, and you gain 1 hit point. Number 3 is you're alive.
Imagine if you were a fucking war wizard and
you done so. You're done. Alive, but your strength has been drained. This is for 3. The character's burliness ability is dropped to 1. And then on 4, Lord Randy be praised. You're alive with 1 HP, but you suffer from intense battle by losing 1 point from all your abilities, and all of your fortune. Yeah, this sucks. No matter what, I'd rather just death save.
I mean, it's kind of sick. Because it's so brutal. But yeah,
if I was going to use this, I would make it either let's just do death saves or let's do rollover. No picking and choosing. And then
I would with how this game works and how I want to run it, which is I want them to die a lot or become really fucked up. I would 100% use this rule.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give them an option. It'd be one or the other.
No, I would only I would use this rule. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I like this. Due to the extreme level of radiation and downright toxic goo that litters the planet, there's a chance any slain PC rises from their death as a zombie. When a PC dies, they roll 1d6. On a result of a 1 or a 2, they become 1 with the living dead. So
hell yeah,
you could end up having to come back and fight yourself. Because you roll a new character and fight your old character, which is dope. The people they kill get up and kill. So there's the total bummer tables here. With the sheer dumb luck, you roll a fumble. So there are the fumble tables right here. Do you want to roll a 1d20 just because?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll roll one too. I got a 17.
I got an 11. Go. You go ahead and read yours first.
You see fear in your adversary's eyes as your weapon comes up over your head. The power surges through you. Knowing this is the end of this fiend, unfortunately, an ally steps in the way as your weapon comes crashing down. Roll on the to the max table against your ally. Sick. Righteous.
11 coin purse rips, spilling all your hard-earned gold. Spend the next 1d4 rounds picking it up and suffer a -7 to your AC until all the gold's picked up. Just for the record, I rolled a 1, so I only got 1 round of that, but...
Oh. Well, and then to the max. So this piece of art here is the piece of art that is the cover. So this is the Diego Nogueira art for the alt cover.
Nice.
And the to the max is there is a bro on a throne, like looking down on this combat happening with this person, their chainsaw weapon, and the 2-headed fucking muto creature. So when your totally radical PC gets a nat 20, you get the to the max table. So there's actually to the max tables for every individual.
You want to roll on yours, and I'll roll on the max or the war wizard.
We are of one mind, friend. I got Spartan kick, a freaking hole in their chest. The attack is a kick instead of the intended attack, dealing 1d12 damage, pushing them back 15 feet. If not in range, gallop up, snarl, kick, and move back to where you were.
I rolled a 17 on the War Wizards. Your brain on drugs. The spell has a radioactive side effect. Everyone in a 10-foot radius of the target must make a resolve saving throw or roll on the fear chart. The target, on the other hand, gets to experience his brains being fried like an egg, causing immediate death.
That's your brain on drugs. That's awesome. I love it.
Here, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah. Don't inject those weeds, kid.
What the fuck does that commercial even mean? You know?
It's just I'm not even gonna say anything. Star Spawn, War Wizard, Spelljammer, melee to the max chart. So there's a specific melee. Yeah, specific for melee for basically the caster boys, peoples. There's some dope art. Literally says dope art on it, and it is pretty dope.
It is pretty dope.
I think some of these are like used throughout in different sections.
Yeah.
This piece of art on the bottom is used a couple of times, but this artist I love what they do with this art style here. And again, like the color version looks fucking amazing. It's the same artist in a different kind of picture on this image here. So then we get to the Neon Lord section with another awesome big piece of art. Like I love on the back here, there's this poster that says like Lord Randy hearts you. That really gets me. Ross Hayes. Sorry, thank you, Brian. Ross Hayes is the artist.
Ross Hayes,
for some of those. And good fucking job. Yeah, that's killer. Yeah. I love the Brudicorn and the Dwarfling here creeping through. It's great. So this is all the Neon Lord section. So we'll just cruise this a little bit. Like a lamb to the slaughter. So there's reaction tables, which is like an attitude reaction table. There's a sleaze reaction table. I actually kind of want to roll on these. Do you want to roll? You want to roll sleaze and I'll roll attitude?
Yeah. Oh, I scrolled way down because I was looking at stuff. What die am I rolling?
You're rolling 2d6.
I'm rolling 2d6.
So for attitude, it says attitude is the law for humanoids and the sectors they live in. Roll 2d6 and add your attitude modifier. I got a 5, so I got nah. I'm good. Sometimes a no is just a no.
I also rolled a 5, and I got. Go fluff a gnar beast, a rude expression meaning no.
See, that's the difference between sleaze and not sleaze. So for attitude, 12 is to the extreme. It's a yes. They dig what you're saying so much they want to partake in adventuring with you. Note, if they are killed, there may be some grave consequences. Might want to talk to the shop owner out of it. Just saying. And your 12 says.
Whose throat will you want to slit? You got a friend for life. Will fight and adventure with you until the bitter end.
And sleaze boys.
So
the game modes we talked about earlier, the Saturday morning mode, nightmare mode, and ultra nightmare mode. So basically, Saturday morning mode really chops down how long you're going to be playing this game, because in character creation you roll 46, dropping the lowest, including sleaze. You double your starting HP. Each player gets 2 attacks per turn. Add your choice of exotic weapon. But you cannot hire mercenaries to aid you in your journey. All damage dice explode, and wandering monsters appear more frequently at double the rate, and all monsters gain an additional 1 HD. I love that. That's like just
basically exactly. Yeah, totally.
We're just gonna hop in a game real quick, and when everyone's dead, we're done. You know?
Fucking go off. We have these ultra powerful characters, and like everything's more powerful and bigger and more explosive. I'm like, okay,
exactly.
Fuck yeah, I'll do that.
I'm gonna skip nightmare mode and go straight to ultra nightmare mode. For the true sadist, this is not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a battle of attrition. You get triple XP. You get torches last exactly 1 hour, not 1d4. While in darkness, PCs suffer a -4 penalty to all rolls, including to hits. Long rest gain 1d4 HP. In addition, injuries have permanent lasting effects. If you manage to level up roll your HD 2 times. That's cool. You grab an exotic weapon to start. Monsters get an extra 1 HD, and wandering monsters appear at a hyper accelerator rate. 10 plus a monster appears. On a 19 or 20, it's a neon death. And for every character that has died in Ultra Nightmare mode and Ultra only, the player may add an additional 1d4 to the stat of their choice at the creation of a new character, sacrificing the character sheet upon the altar of Chaos or to the Golden Goddess, Queen of Chaos, and this is her game mode of choice. So basically, it's it's meat grinder mode, basically, is what it comes down to. Balls to the wall, sometimes 6 shades, gnarly cut, and ice cold gear just can't get the job done. It takes reliability and tenacity, and class specialties portrayed in a game, such as class ability points. More often than not, PCs will find themselves in situations where their lives depend on these little points. Easy to spend, but a bitch to regain. Fortunately, you can, in certain situations, decide to give them back because that's cool. So cranking the action to 11, basically if the PC does something cool, give them some points back. By Crom, worship or sacrifice to a god can gain them favor, give them some points back. His royal dudeness, this is by no means an end-all be-all of what is considered balls to the wall. The Neon Lord can dish out any of them sick ability points when they see fit. Spill your one-liner and spill some blood. If you spout an 80s, 90s movie one-liner that makes someone at your table groan, you get 2 class ability points, but it can't be forced. Don't fake it. And think twice how to chug that glug. World interaction item manipulation is good to not only endorse your favorite Wasteland brands, it's also a good way of looking cool, and it all falls on the rule of cool. Crushing a can in your head may knock a few brain points loose, but it gains you a class ability point. There's some gig ideas on how to kill your players. This is basically like adventure seeds.
Yeah. That was cool. And then pick your poisons after that. And there are some like, there's some cool drugs on there. Sea monkeys we talked about.
Well, let's actually, so sea monkey are frozen eggs of they're sea monkeys. You snort them as a recreational drug, and it's by the hyperlux of society. So this is like cream of the crop.
Yeah, you gotta be rich for this shit.
Yeah. It grants you smell-o-vision with a 75% chance of a failed roll on the drug table. And Jedi Mama, Mother of Jedi, is rating us with 29 people.
Hey!
So, how's it going?
Hi, friends. Good to see you.
For those in podcast land,
woo!
Yeah, we stream live on Twitch, so occasionally we talk to people in chat and get rated by wonderful human beings like the Mother of Jedi. Thank you so much for coming in and for the resub. We really appreciate it. We are going over Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland, a post-apocalyptic Gommet Vonzo just fuckery fest that is incredibly entertaining. Getting towards the end now.
Did you
talk
say
about
Gommet
drugs.
Vonzo, or do you say Vomit Gonzo?
Either way. There's crack, which makes you fast and increases sleaze. But smash is a fight designer drug that increases brutality and things like that. And there's a whole smash table, so you can actually roll for addiction and drug effects, bad trips.
Oh, you can roll for a bad trip too.
Yeah, roll a bad trip effect. Roll me a d6.
I'm gonna roll a d6. I rolled, 3. Everything looks like melted ice cream. All rolls get a -3 penalty.
Nice. Paranoia condition, things like it's great. I love that. All the different conditions. Bleeding is cool. It's you actually take bleed damage. Blind, bloodlust, curse,
sugar rush.
Yeah. Paranoia, madness, those kind of things. Fear the Reaper is the fear table.
Right.
So you can roll 1d20 on the fear table. Different types of damage. It talks about acid, asphyxiation, bleeding damage, blowback, burning, scatter, all those kind of things. I mean, they're all relatively self-explanatory with some mechanical bits to it. Curses and diseases. That's where we get those space herpes.
And listen, I know that we're cruising through this right now because we're like 3 hours in and we've gone through like the meat of most of this. But like very seriously, if you should pick up this book and read through it, because some of the best pop culture references are hidden in these sections of like the diseases and drugs and shit. Like it's really like there's a lot of really funny stuff in here. Like at a table, if you're just like, yeah, this happens, your fucking table would like erupt with laughter because the shit's hilarious, you know?
It's fucking hysterical. Like the space herpes would crack me the fuck up. Like, every time.
Yeah. Yeah, so you gain space herpes. You're just like, what the fuck? Nosferatu is a good one for curses and diseases.
Yeah, the fake vampires, that one's too.
Yeah. Space herpes, very good. Very cool. Mutations are next.
Yeah,
and so
we
there's
talked
the
about
minor, major, and mega. Do we have time to just roll on the mutations real quick?
Yeah, roll. Do you?
It's fucking. I know we're 3 hours in, but I like the mutations in this game. For minor, I rolled a 2. Everything tastes like meat. Treated the jellied meat. Everything tastes like meat. Treat the jellied meat. Meat treat the jellied meat. What the fuck? Oh, meat treat the jellied meat.
Yeah, meat treat the jelly meat. Come on, you got this. You rolled on the minor. I'll roll on the major.
And I'll roll on the mega.
I have to actually go back to here. So the major mutation 1d20. Yeah, and for those that just hopped in, as I said, we're talking about Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. It has still got 7 days left on Kickstarter. So if you think this is fucking hysterical and awesome, I just dropped the link in there and check that out. I have a copy. It's fantastic. And I do recommend grabbing a copy. I rolled a 4 on the major, so I get a Cyclops 0 depth perception, -2 attack rolls, and I get an eye effect, which is 1d4. And I got a 4, which means I got a smell-o-vision with my Cyclops eye.
Nice, you got smell-o-vision
With my
and then on the mega. On the mega, I rolled a 4. Frail, roll 1d6 for each attribute after each long rest, and minus that much from them for the day, but gain double XP and add an additional 1d6 HP every level. Must have drunk a lot of overly caffeinated citrus flavored soda as a kid.
Yeah, who didn't?
I actually didn't, so.
Oh god, mellow yellow all day. Wasteland dungeon building. So these are we're getting into some roll tables, which are really cool. I do like this. Quick dungeon rooms. They got location tables like Wasteland Bunker, Sewers of Detroit Prime. What does a dump look like? Dilapidated shoddy. Room descriptions like torched and burnt to a crisp. You got Spice Up the Room 1d66, which is cool, which is literally like childish vulgar, graffiti on the walls, random encounters, cannibal butcher's lair. So you really can just like roll up a super quick dungeon right from these tables and keep going. There's a whole page on traps, like the Dead Man Switch, Hell Spell, Pandora's Box. Yeah. Lasting Injury Table. Ask Zoltan is interesting. Basically, you can ask, like, Zoltan's out there in the world. He's trapped in it. And you can ask him questions, which is fantastic. A whole table on looting dead bodies, which is great because some of them are trapped. And you can lose fingers and toes doing that. There is a section on the rich stuff, like fantastical items. The gold standard, drop dead scum, suck a sleaze. In Glug we trust. That's why they're called tokens, because the gold standard, the coin looks like a fucked up Chuck E. Cheese token.
Just an angry fucking looking Chucky.
Yeah. There are a bunch of the exotic items and crazy rich items, golden axes and things like that. There is food and things like that. Cherry slimeade, magic pills, luck potions. There's a whole section on arcane items, and again, we're kind of just cruising towards the end of this, since we have gone through most of the meat of it, and we have been on the air for 3 hours. Power caps of many things. So these are hats, Grim Reapers, pirate flags, things like that.
There's so much, there's so much here, and there's so much cool stuff in this game, you know, you really absolutely. It's like, because we've been going through so many very lean games, trying to go through a game. It's like, oh, look how much it gives you in this. You know, there's so much cool stuff. You know,
it is interesting. Sir Zaxxon's holy body parts. You can literally find almost like a Vecna style, like heart, femur, bits, and things like that. Slaughter stones, considered the most fantastical items in existence. 5 stones are created for the ultimate weapon. So this is very much the stones from the glove and the thing. You know what I'm talking about from the movie?
Yes, I do. I've seen that movie. Yes, I do know what you're talking about. So
yeah. Untlick, this is now haunted. The blade is imbued in the restless souls of those that it has conquered. So there's a table, a to the max table for this specific weapon. Another great piece of art. And then there's a history of Neoterex, which is a fun read. I highly recommend actually going through and reading about Vietnam 2, The Revenge.
Vietnam 2, The Revenge.
Yeah.
It's fucking so goddamn ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I love that the pages on this look like that old school fucking 80s like printer paper that like comes out in fucking waves. You have to rip the. Why was that ever a good idea?
I know I wasn't alive yet, so.
You were a tiny little baby. And that's pretty much it. There's maps in the back. I like the Mount Rushmore Muty situation there.
Yeah. Yeah, the map's cool.
There's whole
There's
breakdown.
also like little standees in the back as well. Little bad guy paper standees and stuff.
Places of interest, which is great. It's good to have all of that information because if you're gonna build a world this like full of stuff, I'm glad there's a huge section in the back. Mount Crushmore. I'm glad there's a huge section in the back. Yeah, that really expands on all of that for you. So this is all pretty much like lore and things like that, and that's again why we're cruising it. There's a whole section on Hell, including Abaddon's the first world wizard, Hell World. A bestiary all the way in the back breaks down all of the baddies for you. And then again, as we cruise towards the end here, more bummer tables, the appendices, like arm wrestling, etc.
There's so much, you know, like it's good.
Yeah, it's good. And then there are some adventures all the way in the back. And I'm just going to give you guys seizures by screwing through all of that. So yeah, character sheet in the back. I love that there are the standees. I would never cut the book, but I would definitely print these out and use them.
I would never cut a book, but yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate that too. You know, miniatures are such a pain in the ass and they cost so much, but it's nice to just like, you can make a bunch of copies of these standees and just fucking use them, you know, just because you got the book.
Well, that's one thing. Like Kobold Press makes the flat cardboard ones where you just have to have like the thing. Those are great, and I have a million fucking minis, and I wasted a ton of money on them because they're sitting in bags now. But I wish I would have jumped on that instead. So that is the actual review of the game, and we are going to hop into the game review because this is the first actually in a couple of weeks.
Oh, we haven't fucking actually reviewed the game in so long. Oh yeah,
in so long, yeah. So we're gonna hop in. So real quick for those that are new to the hearing of the
scores.
I
remember how to do this?
I know. Well, let me explain it to you. Shut the fuck up. We got we got 5 scores that we give up to 10 points for each. So 5 is considered average. So 25 is just considered an average game. You get art and style, which really talks about the art. The quantity and quality within, and also is there consistent style throughout. There's layout and function, and that's about readability and like, you know, PDF tools and things like that, like hyperlinks and bookmarks and all those kind of things. So I got the dial-up edition. I know apparently that the original edition has hyperlinks, so I'm not going to count against that. But those are kind of things we're looking for.
Yeah. No, that's
Rule set and crunch basically is if it's a unique rule set, how is it good? And if it's an adapted one, how well is it adapted? Crunch, does it feel like there are the right amount of rules for the system, or does it feel like overly burdened or like there isn't enough? Originality is a very broad topic, and that means that's on rules, that's on art, that's on lore, that's on the entire game in general. And value is an important score we look at, because if your book is too fucking expensive, we can't play it. So that, and it also comes with, it also means, are there third-party licenses? Is there extra material? Are there extra adventures? Like, how much do you get? It's bang for your buck score, basically. So going straight to art and style, what are your thoughts on the art and style in the book?
I mean, I think it stylistically is really cool, and I think the art is really cool. I mean, I know that we talked about it not being in color, and the reason for that
still kills me though.
I really do wish it was more colorful here and there, because it is so colorful. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
in a perfect world, no, but when money is not a thing, I also do get that, you know, it's still trying to channel BX and like the original black and white.
Totally.
I get that entirely. 100% understand.
Yeah.
But in my perfect world, this would be as bright as the cover all the way through.
What are you thinking for art?
I mean, there's a fuck ton of art in here.
There is a fuck ton everywhere, and like, you know, the page headers are all like, they all are very stylistic, and they use a bunch of fun fonts or have imagery around them. I'm I feel like that's a solid 7. You know.
Oh, I mean, I was probably shooting more towards 8 realistically.
What
because
else has an 8 in art and style?
That's what I was looking up right now. But part of it is, like you said, like even all the page headers, not only are they interesting, they're all references and stuff. And a lot of times they even reference within the page. So let's go to, all right. So again, one of the things we do is relate all of this to previous scores to kind of give us
context.
To get context, and then we've actually upped or downed scores as we fade. Well, this got a 9, but this is actually better, so we'll drop or raise. So obviously, Berkborg, literally considered an art punk book. It's basically like a art book with rules in it. Is a 10. Troika got a 7. Necronihilus got a 9. Warplane got a 9. Into the Odd was an 8. Still a different style of book.
Yeah.
Red Giant got a 7. Orbital Blues got a 9. Forbidden Psalm got a 9. Nova got, like, even Gun and Slinger got an 8. We were really nice with some of the art on some of this.
We can always go back and change it. So
Flayo got an 8. Slayer's got a 7. Yeah, I'm still thinking just based on that, I think it's an 8 for me. I mean, there's just so much good art in here.
Yeah, go off. I mean, I don't have any argument against that. So, you know,
all right.
Go off, bro. Do it.
So we'll start with can you expand, you motherfucker? So for art, we're gonna go ahead and drop an 8 on this bad boy. Layout and function. So again, I'm told that it has hyperlinks. Question, does the original PDF have bookmarks? And we'll get the answer to that. And then
I think they said it has bookmarks and hyperlinks.
Good. Layout wise, readability wise,
super readable.
I think it's super readable. I think the only thing, and maybe this is just my eyes, and tell me if this is not your eyes.
Well, you are incredibly old, so.
Well, that's true. But on a lot of the pages, there's this like gray background to it with like the kind of like vaporwave shapes on it. Sometimes the black writing on like the white and gray in the background, it's not necessarily hard to read, but it's not high contrast either. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just me, again, being old. And that's such a tiny fucking little baby knock. But it's just, you know, hitting all the things. But I mean, it's 2 columns fucking laid out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I had an easy time reading it.
Yeah. If it's hyperlinked and bookmarked, we can't have a whole lot against it. I mean, the layout is it's readable. It's nothing crazy or groundbreaking. It's exactly what it needs to be. And I think in the general vibe of books that are pretty much 2-columned and laid out the way that they need to be,
I mean, the contrast in the background, I don't think I'm looking through it right now. I don't think it ever really bothered me.
Yeah, and I think all of the, you know, so we've given some knocks on points for things like lack of headers, sections being in wrong places, all that kind of stuff. I don't feel like that was the thing here at all.
I know. I felt like this was all in a really good order. It was all really clearly labeled. Yeah, it's like 2-column. It sometimes there's a lot of words on the page, but they just don't ever feel cramped.
No.
I mean, I think
it's a full-size book too. We're not on like little zines.
Yeah, totally.
Zines.
I mean, I think that this is a pretty higher end like layout and function because it works really well, you know. And there's a lot of roll tables towards the back where you kind of need them. So I think that gives it some points on the function as well. I think maybe this is another like 8-ish. Yeah, I think it's a good 8.
That's exactly what I was going for. Was an 8. Rule set and crunch. I like it.
I do too. I mean, admittedly, I would play this. I would not run this. This is not the type of game there's a lot in this game, and I'm not the biggest BX guy.
Right.
But like, you know, it just seems like a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah. I would say objectively, I think we are of the same mind right now in that we like rules light stuff. We don't. Yeah. I like, you know, 8 to 10 pages of actual rules, and that's about fucking it.
Yeah, I'm old. Any more than 4 stats, and I just get confused. But no, I mean, I think everything here is really straightforward. It works more or less how you think. I do say that one of my little bit knocks is that. And I'm forgetting, 1 is roll over D20 and 1 is roll under D20.
Kind of, but I mean, it's everything's roll over, but your skills are roll under, you know?
Yeah, but that one thing is like a roll under. I just like the fact that only one thing is roll under.
But it's because you spend ability points, so you have to keep staying under that thing. It's a essential mechanic to the whole concept of ability points. I hear what you're saying though. Like it can create like a little fiddliness that like I think it would be innate once you run it for like 10 minutes, but like
probably
I get what you're saying. Again, I would say subjectively, I still prefer rules like games. Objectively, does it do what it wants to do with the amount of rules it wants without a whole lot of crunch? I don't think there's too much crunch in this game at all. I think there's a lot of rules, but it feels like it's almost more adding more fun and cool, not adding more like
Hey, I would definitely say this is a rules medium, you know?
Yeah. But I don't feel boxed in by the extra rules. I feel like it's good to have a bunch of extra little bitty things instead of 5e where I feel like if it doesn't explicitly say I can, I feel like I can't do it. This is like do whatever the fuck you want, but here's the thing you can if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
So, I mean, when I look at, so we've never given a 10 rule set when I highly doubt we ever will.
Yeah.
So when we look at the highest rule set things we've ever given as far as 9s go, we're looking at Kingdoms, 12 years. Yeah, Necronautilus, Death in Space. For me, this is not that. When we look at 8s, we gave Merkborg an 8 because realistically, as a game by itself, it's a game. Red Giant got an 8. So I'm between like Viking Death Squad got a 7. And Rune Cairn got a 7. Eyesman the Torchlight got a 7. I'm between a 7 and an 8 on this. What are your thoughts?
I am also between a 7 and an 8. What is the tipping factor in one direction or the other?
I mean, it's cool.
It is fucking cool. You do get to pick your hairstyle, and it does give you a bonus. And that alone might make it an 8. You know?
Yep.
I think it should be an 8. I think it's fucking absolutely ridiculous in a really good way. And I think it has a bunch of these little add-on rules that aren't overwhelming, but like help aid in just like how fucking absurd this game is. So I think that makes it an 8, you know? Yeah,
and I think to continue that point a little bit, I think that the rules, and we've talked about this before, the rules reinforce the game that wants to be played. It's not like 5e where it's bland as fuck. If you can use the same system for fucking everything, it's not a good system. You know? A lot of the rules in here are specific to Neon Lords, like you just said, like the hairstyle and shit like that.
Yeah.
And to me, when the rules reinforce the style of play you want from the game, which I think all of this shit does. I mean, fucking sea monkeys, space herpes, haircuts. Like I think that really that tips it over. Originality. I mean,
so like it's funny because this is a game about references to a certain era of culture, and like it is incredibly original because we've gone through games that are over the top and ridiculous, but this picks out and achieves such a specific cultural moment. It's several years. It's an era, cultural era, but like it does it so well, and then it feels amazingly original in its execution. You know, like the deities are fucking pro wrestlers. I mean, what have we given an 8 or a 9 to on originality?
Well, so the only score is Necronautilus. That's got a 10. That's our only 10. Merkborg got a 9 because of it was a grimdark fucking dark world, but the way in which they did it. We have a lot of 8s. Into the Odd is an 8. Casketland is an 8. Ark is an 8. Because since we're looking at rules and everything, like original Mothership was an 8.
Well, then we also only review games that we want to review, and so it kind of skews it to like, of course they got high originality scores. We only review good shit.
But I mean, a 25 is an average score, and I don't think we've ever had less than a 32. So obviously, but we average between like 7s and 8s. I mean, what got a 7? Best Left Buried got a 7. Flayo got a 7. But Flayo is kind of pretty much standard grimdark. I mean, this feels between 7 and 8 again for me.
This is an 8 for me. Easy.
Yeah. Dunzo. All right.
Look at this. Fucking 8s across the board.
I sense a theme here. And value. Okay, so when we're looking at value, let's look at the Kickstarter price for just a standard book right now. And then let me look up the drive-through RPG cost for just a PDF.
Okay. I am a dumb guy and I can't type. Neon.
Oh, I actually I have it open right here actually.
Oh, well, fuck you, Ryan. I was trying to help.
How dare you? Soft cover. This reward is for physical book only. No PDF is offered. Is $30. $50 gets you hardcover, a PDF of the hardcover, and all the stretch goals. So you're talking $50 for hardcover and PDF.
That's a little bit on the higher side.
It is going to be like a 300+ page book, and you get all of the stretch goals.
Yeah, that's so true. We talk about that being high, but usually the books we're going through are less than that
big
in pages.
Yeah.
So
hardcover, all the stretch goals.
Book,
yeah,
that's not bad.
So if Brian doesn't mind saying, what is it gonna what's the retail of this book gonna be after if you just get the book in PDF? Because right now the core rules on drive-through-RPG is $20. Which again, for a PDF that's like 250 pages, we consider PDF average about like $15. But again, for a 250 page book, 20 doesn't bother me. That's about average for me. And yeah, it is quite a big book. And he did say this is going to be over 300. And $20 for the PDF again on here, which is going to be a bigger PDF too.
So saying 50 for the book and PDF same. So 300 page book, like, yeah, the moment you go like, yeah, it's 300 pages, I'm like, oh yeah, wait, 50 is pretty good. Like, we're talking about 45 for like an 80 or 90 page book and PDF. So
is there going to be a third party license? Can people write stuff for Neon Lords? Is that a thing that they can do? And then don't forget like the extra stuff. So like the space bulk that's in the book will be a separate softback too. You can get pogs, you can get all of the dice bags. There is a ton of extras that you can get with it. There's already a ton of adventures in this book. There's bonus classes like the street sharks and stuff like that. There's already a third-party license, he says. I mean, to me, I still think just on value-wise, it's just a smidge expensive, but you get a lot of with it. What is another game that was like a smidge expensive, but you get a lot with it? Like Best of Buried had an 8. I'm trying to think of ones that came with a bunch of stuff. Like Ark had an 8, but that had like a ton of like online generators and stuff.
Yeah, online tools and stuff. I mean, I think right now this is sitting at a strong 7 for me. You know,
at least I think.
Yeah.
I mean, because 50. I mean, but again, there's a lot of free PDF stuff available in drive-thru right now from this too. Like Thirsty for More is $1. Last Outpost is $0. I mean, like,
oh yeah, okay. So, are we going all 8s?
That's what it looks like to me, because again,
it sounded like we're doing all. Have we ever done an all one number score?
I don't think so. The free quick start really gets it for me too. The fact that you could just like jump up and go running for completely free. I mean, to me, it's got decent value just because of like all of the extra stuff that you can get with it. Yeah, I think this is where I'm at.
All 8s. So it's a 40.
8 times 5 is 40. That is a solid. That's a solid score.
It's a very high score.
Yeah,
that is one of our higher ones easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of higher than I expected. I thought we were going to shoot right around the 38 mark. But 40 puts it on par with Kingdoms, and that's just because we gave him pretty hard knocks on some of the layout. We probably should have not knocked him so hard for layout.
I stand by that decision, and I love that game.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of 37s and 38s. Not a whole lot of scores in the 40s.
It's very solid all the way through, you know? Like, it really is.
That's what it is. It's consistency.
Yeah,
because a lot of the games...
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the games that so for example, Kingdoms is one of my favorite games of all time.
God, it's so good.
but it only has, and it's all 9s and 7s, and there's one thing with the layout, because I don't think I'm not sure if it's hyperlinked to bookmarked either. I think that's where we
it's
gave it some
not,
knocks.
and it was missing a bunch of page headers and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
and but it's the only one. I mean, otherwise it had like 3 9s. So there's some like dips and stuff in it. Like
Yeah.
Orbital Blue's got a 39, and it was 988 and then 6 for the value, but that's because it was British and the pound really fucked us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of games that really have like big swings. Like Casket Lane got a 10 on value because it's literally free, but a 4 on layout. So it really fucked it up. So we've talked about this. We've had some recently that are like a lot of 7s or 8s and stuff like that. And we've talked across the board where it's interesting to see games like the total score is just it's just a way to kind of like lump stuff together. But when you see like Overarms, for example, 7 7 8 8 6 things like that, having a game that's consistent across all scores is really nice to see, instead of being like, here's an amazing art book that's not laid out very well, or here's like a really cool rule set that doesn't have any art in it, you know?
Yeah. No,
So
this is pretty solid going
consistency-
through. The rules are cool. They reinforce the game. The art's cool. It's easy to read, which let me tell you, thanks. Thank you. Because we have to read these things. So it's really nice. I was like, oh, it's visually very easy to look at, you know?
Yeah, it's nice. Again, I would say my biggest knock, and we know why,
Yeah, we know why.
but my biggest knock is, fuck, if this was in color, man. Like, if it was as colorful as the cover all the way through, that would be a dream. But
Maybe
again,
one day.
we totally understand why. We didn't take big knocks for that, because it's got to be expensive as fuck. But that's my only real big knock on this game, period, is just I wish it was in color. In a perfect world,
It is hard because it is so big. Like a lot of the full color stuff that we see is like less
Tiny.
than half the size. Yeah.
Mortgage your fucking. You would have to mortgage your fucking house off to like get this thing printed in color, and I totally get that.
Yeah,
I'm saying
it would be $100 book, you know,
in
easily.
a perfect world, that would be ideal. But again,
We don't live in a perfect world.
We don't.
You don't think our world's perfect, Ryan?
I don't. I'm not gonna do the Zoom thing. No, I don't.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's the game. So this is Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. There are 7 days left on the Kickstarter. Go back this shit. It's funded. Let's hit some stretch goals. You're gonna get some pogs. You're gonna get some temporary tattoos. 7 days left. Go grab this book. It's. I thought it was gonna be cool because I've read through it some other times. But when you really sit down and dig through it, it's even cooler than I thought it'd be.
It ended up being very, very cool.
Yeah, and I'm super stoked, and I definitely want to play this at some point. We are The Weekly Scroll. You can find us on Instagram at the.weekly.scroll, where we just recently passed 300 followers, so thank you so much for that. We are on the tweeters at weekly_scroll, and you can find us on YouTube at The Adventure Archive, and then our podcast is Spotify, Apple, all that shit, whatever. Catch us there. And then Neon Lords, again, go to Kickstarter. Back that shit. Hunter, you are a wonderful, beautiful man with a skull haircut. I will see you Saturday?
Sure.
Saturday. And that's it. You guys all have
Thanks,
a wonderful day.
Thanks for Brian for coming on the show.
And thanks for being in chat the whole time as well.
And thanks for everyone who rated. Bye.